The heart of your teams, the heart of Michigan. Bally Sports Detroit, the heart of the fan.
One year ago, a young Southfield A&T roster battled one of the state's perennial powers in West Bloomfield, and the Lakers prevailed handily.
Touchdown, West Bloomfield!
But that was then, and this is now. It's a world in which both teams have led a revolution where offense reigns supreme.
Deontay Pippen!
Marshall throws. It's caught!
Ball contained! Semaj Morgan, look out!
Tashi Braceful! You've got to be kidding me!
The script may have changed, but the stakes couldn't be higher on this football Friday night.
1, 2, 3, go!
One man.
It's 5th-ranked West Bloomfield and 14th-ranked Southfield A&T. The offensive fireworks start right now on Bally Sports.
Welcome to Southfield A&T High School, and welcome to a football video game come to life. We're going to see a lot of offensive fireworks tonight. It's West Bloomfield in town to take on the Southfield A&T Warriors. Our Football Fridays, as always, presented by our friends at the Southeast Michigan Ford Dealers. Buckle up, this is going to be fun. West Bloomfield against Southfield A&T on a perfect October night for football. Welcome to the field, and welcome to what's going to be a heck of a ball game. He's Justin Sassante. I'm Evan Stockton, alongside the rest of our great Bally Sports crew. We'll hear from Natalie Kerwin in just a second. Justin, for everyone who loves high school football in this state and loves pure raw talent, congratulations. You've picked the right football game to watch.
Yeah, this game is absolutely loaded. A lot of hype around it, well-deserved. There's 4 stars, 3 stars, college commits, college offers all over the place, and the state is going to be watching the TV tonight, and there's going to be a show on turf, and it's between Southfield A&T and West Bloomfield.
Okay, so just to prove to you we're not lying to you about all the talent that is going to be on this football field tonight, look at this. You've got future Michigan Wolverines. You've got future members of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. You got future Western Michigan Broncos on the football field tonight. And the guy we got to focus on, Justin, bottom of the screen, Isiah Marshall, in a state that is loaded with quarterback talent. Somehow he's flying under the radar. After tonight, I don't think he's going to be flying under the radar anymore.
Yeah, it's amazing how this young man has built his repertoire and built his game over the years, and I've watched him since he was a young man, and he has a very comparison game to a Russell Wilson or a Jalen Hurts. If he was a running back, he'd be in the top 3 in the state, in my opinion, but he can really throw the ball, put it on the line, and he's got some great receivers to do it.
Yeah, I mean, between Tashi Braceful and Jawan Jarrett, if there's a better wide receiver duo in the state of Michigan, please tell me who it is, because these guys are awesome to watch.
Yeah, and the guy, a tremendous job in the offseason. They put a lot of work in, got to watch them in a lot of 7-on-7, but when they put the pads on, they're even more impressive. Tashi Braceful, just a big, strong, athletic wide receiver, can go up and get the football and also can catch the ball, gets great yards after catch. And Jawan Garrett is just an unbelievable wide receiver. Slot, can really do it all. They'll get the ball in his hands in all type of different creative ways. And if anybody did not know about him coming into this year, they do now, coming as defensive back, transition to wide receiver.
Now look, West Bloomfield is going to have the talent pretty much every year to match anyone in the state of Michigan. But the fact of the matter is, they're coming into this ball game with one hand tied behind their back. They've got some big pieces out tonight. You got Kari Jackson, an outstanding defensive piece. He's out, Justin. And the big one, their starting quarterback, Rick Nance, he is also out tonight. So we will see how that goes for West Bloomfield. But these guys will always have talent. And if they're going to win this football game and stop those Warrior talented offensive players, the secondary's got to play a huge role.
Yeah, and they have 2 huge commits, Michigan with Semaj Morgan, Lorenzo Williams of Western Michigan, and they put a lot of pressure on their defensive backs with their blitz packages from West Bloomfield and playing tons of man-to-man. And when you turn your back and you got the wide receiver corps that Southfield A&T have, they have not been challenged this year like this, and we'll see it's going to be a great matchup and great competition on the football field.
So you see their strong safety, number 2, Semaj Morgan. Get ready to hear that name. We are going to say his name a lot tonight. West Bloomfield's had Donovan Edwards. They've had Dylan Tatum. Now they have Semaj Morgan. if they're going to win, this dude has got to have a huge night, Justin.
Yeah, he has a tremendous amount of confidence, as he should. He's an all-around athlete. He's a special breed of talent, and every time he touches the football, he can go to the house, and he is going to, coaches say he wants the ball more, he wants it more. Well, he's going to have a chance playing quarterback tonight and touching the ball more often, and we'll see how he does in the run and pass game.
Hold down the right trigger, hit that circle button. We got a football video game come to life tonight. West Bloomfield, one of the powers of the state, against Southfield A&T, who's trying to make a name for themselves. Football Fridays coming up right here on Bally Sports. A familiar scene across football fields across the country tonight. Here in Southfield, West Bloomfield and Southfield A&T, two of the more talented teams in the state of Michigan, locking horns. There's a lot of intrigue in this game. The added layer to it is everybody knows everybody. Third member of our crew, Natalie Kerwin's got more on that.
Yeah, well, we know the talent is loaded on both sides, but why is this such a big rivalry? Well, a lot of the kids on both of these teams actually played Little League football together growing up. They were on a team called the Southfield Falcons, a popular feeder program here in Metro Detroit. It gets a lot of kids from surrounding areas, including Southfield and West Bloomfield. Take a look at this picture. 14 of the kids are current juniors between both teams, including a lot of the major names you'll hear tonight, like Isiah Marshall, Jalen Todd, Tashi Braceful, Brandon Davis Swain, and Jameer Benjamin, just to name a few. These guys have strong feelings for each other, or about each other, I should say. I'll let them explain that one.
A love-hate relationship. You know, I love them.
More hate or more love?
It's to this week is more hate. It's more hate this week. But like, you know, they talk a lot of trash. You know, so we just play. I don't like them on the field.
Almost the whole staff, everybody, like the whole team, we all play Little League together with the Southfield Falcons, so we all separated in this, you know, it's a rivalry now. But after the game, we still back cool, but this whole week, we not talking to them.
I don't like West Bloomfield at all. Even if, like, my cousin goes there, but I still don't like West Bloomfield. I never will.
Yeah, you can sense just a little bit of hatred there. These guys have grown up together, played with each other, and now against each other. Guys, let's see tonight just how much that adds an extra layer to this game.
Nat, there's a lot going into this thing, so let's just find out what the heck happens together. Southfield A&T is going to kick it deep. Bryce Rowe, one of the men back deep for West Bloomfield. They call him Blaze because he runs a 4.5 40. TJ Diop sends it into the air, and we're playing ball in Southfield on a Friday night. Here is Rowe on the return. Looking for room. He's got a little room. Rowe bouncing to the outside. Told you they call him Blaze. That's a heck of a start for the Lakers. So, Justin, here's the deal. We just hit on it in the open. West Bloomfield is missing Rick Nance, their multi-year starter. We'll see a lot of guys at the quarterback spot. It starts with Brody Peker, who last week was pretty much solely a running back at the quarterback spot. If you're their coaches, how do you navigate that quarterback situation tonight?
Yeah, and he's only 2 for 2, so he's only attempted 2 passes, although he completed it. And I think that your offensive scheme is going to change dramatically into ball control and obviously running the football. So we'll see what they do and scheme up for Southfield A&T. I think they want to keep A&T's offense off the field and really control the game clock today.
They start with a wildcat look. It's a straight give to Kenneth Jones, who plows across midfield, gains a few on first for West Bloomfield. Now, Rick Nance in the full pads was warming up throwing the football, so we thought, oh geez, they pulling the rope-a-dope on us? No, they were trying to pull the rope-a-dope on Southfield A&T. Rick Nance is not playing tonight. They expect him back by the playoffs, but as you can see, Justin, they're missing a lot with this guy at the helm tonight.
Yeah, it does a lot for the offense. He's the leader, and he gets the ball to the playmakers, and that's just going to be different tonight.
Another direct snap to Jones. Plowing ahead and setting up a third down and shorter for West Bloomfield. We told you that there was a lot of talent on this football field tonight. Do you want an example of why people are coming to this game, why there is so much talent on the field tonight? That helicopter contains one James Franklin, the head coach of Penn State, who so badly wanted to be here before that game against the Michigan Wolverines tomorrow at noon that he found a helicopter to fly into the game.
Pretty amazing where recruiting has went, and he's definitely trying to feel his presence here in Michigan, playing Michigan tomorrow at 12 o'clock at the Big House.
One of the guys that Franklin is going to be following closely is Semaj Morgan, who did gain the first down, but we got a lot of laundry on the field.
We have a hold. Number 11 on the offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat, third down.
All right, official Gerald making the call there, and again, Justin, taking away what was a first down for West Bloomfield, making it third down and long. To state the absolute obvious, with their starting quarterback not playing today, this is not exactly the situation they want to be in.
And you're asking for a little different scheme from your offensive line. They have to get used to different guys behind them, and obviously they don't want to see early penalties and backing themselves up on third down and long. Look for them to push the ball vertical or try to get the ball out very quickly in some type of bubble screen, some type of rocket, and really they're on a third and long situation that they really have to dial something up.
They'll keep it on the ground. Tyrell for Rogers left side. Another flag flies as Nigel Dunton makes the tackle. James Franklin got off the helicopter just in time to watch that play.
Yeah, you see number 56, Amir Herring, the big All-American, committed Under Armour All-American game, and he gets a big pancake, but his hand's on the outside, and I think they might have got him for that holding call. Sometimes if you dominate too much, it's going to look too good, and you're going to get called for a hold.
You're telling me the block was so good they had to call a flag on that?
Yeah, I think the only thing that they really saw was that left hand was a little bit up on the top left shoulder pad, and they called him for it.
Right now they're checking with the Southfield A&T sidelines to see if they want to accept the penalty. I suppose the question is, Justin, why in the world would they not decline it and make West Bloomfield punt? Because it's going to be 4th down and 10.
Yeah, the only reason I could think of is, they can't push the ball vertical like they have in the past without their quarterback, so you're really starting to push them back and make them dial something up they're really uncomfortable with early in the game.
Here's Coach Grice, second year as the head coach, but he was on Ron Bellamy's staff for a very long time. The man who knows this program as about as well as anyone in that school district. He's 16-3. By the way, his only 3 losses are to one school, Rochester Adams. As for Aaron Marshall, a man who is proud of the culture that he is building here at Southfield A&T, proof's in the pudding. Last year 2-7, this year 6-1, and tonight, with a game on TV, chance to make a statement against a team in West Bloomfield that seems to have reservations for Ford Field year after year at this point.
Yeah, Southfield really hasn't been able, Southfield A&T really hasn't been able to get over the humps in the years. They've made some deep runs in the playoffs, but with all the talent, there's a lot of pressure on them to perform and get to the big dance.
So after all that, it is going to be punt formation for West Bloomfield. Jaden Bush, your man back deep for Southfield A&T. One of them back there. Brian Krauthammer, the punter for West Bloomfield. He'll handle the kicking duties and the punting duties. Left-legged kick. Bounds and rolls and ends up putting Southfield A&T inside the 10. So Krauthammer does a really nice job flipping field position. It'll be a long field for an offense in Southfield A&T that, frankly, it doesn't matter where you put them. They're probably scoring a touchdown with the way they've been operating this year. Isiah Marshall, a maestro at the controls this year. The stats are eye-popping. Well over 2,000 yards.
halfway into the year. 23 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And the added X factor for him, Justin, you see those rushing stats? He did not have those rushing stats at this point last year.
No, and I talked to his uncle and his father, and they put the restrictor plate on him over the past couple of years, making him stay in the pocket, make him grow as a quarterback. And now they've taken that restrictor plate off, and you see what it's really paid off with a lot of rushing yards this season, and he can hurt you with his feet at any time.
What does the man have cooked up for us on drive number 1 tonight? Swinging it out to Dewan Jarrett, and West Bloomfield saw that on tape all week. A big pop to start the ball game for a Lakers defense that'll feel the pressure against a very good Southfield A&T offense tonight. Justin, when you have skill players, the offensive line has got to hold up. When you watch this Southfield A&T team on tape, what do you make of that offensive line?
Yeah, you got a big left tackle there, and Aaron Bradley. He's going to have his hands full with Swain tonight that's committed to Notre Dame. But you have to make sure that you keep the pressure from the blitzes off of Isiah and let him stay in the pocket and do what he does.
Trying again. Not gaining very much again. First time it's in the hands of Royce Liggins. 3rd down coming for Southfield A&T. So West Bloomfield defense that sometimes takes a back seat to their offense. Frankly, they shouldn't, Justin. They have got a lot of talent. Right there, middle of your screen. Notre Dame fans loving watching this guy play ball. Brandon Davis Swain can put up some eye-popping highlights.
Yeah, even missing Kari Jackson tonight, they are extremely tough in the middle, very well coached on the defensive line. Coach Ivey, the defensive line coach for West Bloomfield, and they are going to be technically sound and give fits for that offensive line of Southfield A&T.
3rd down 9 for the Warriors. Marshall given time, stepping up in that pocket, rolling away from pressure. There's those legs we were telling you about. Isiah Marshall trying to get there. Looks like he's a yard or 2 shy.
Yeah. 99% of the other teams, this is a sack, but because you have this dual threat quarterback, he is always going to be able to find a seam, and they don't contain him on the right side, crashing a little bit. They have to be disciplined on the outside and not let Isiah get out. Luckily, they were able to get him out of bounds before he got a 1st down and get a punt situation.
A little bit of a bend but don't break for West Bloomfield, helped out by that outstanding punt. They always say 3rd phase of the ball game wins big games like this. West Bloomfield figures to get good field position here.
Yeah, something we didn't expect right off the rip is 2 great defensive stands, 2 3-and-outs. So it's very important to...
Yeah, that's exactly it. We open the broadcast by saying this is a video game come to life. Nobody's scored yet. 4th down for Southfield A&T, and they're punting when you come on back. Moving toward halfway into the first quarter, nothing game. Southfield A&T has a 4th down and 2 inside their 20, so they're about to punt the football to West Bloomfield here. Time for a segment that just makes me hungry every time I say it. Sasante's sauce. Justin, what are the keys for West Bloomfield
Yeah,
tonight?
West Bloomfield is put in a corner with losing their quarterback the last couple weeks, so they have to change it. They have to pound the rock and own the clock. They have to have ball control and not give it back to that potent Southfield A&T offense and keep the quarterback in the pocket. They did a good job of getting him out of bounds, but he got out of the pocket and hurt him with his legs, and they cannot let that happen consistently throughout the game or he's going to hurt him.
This is Nigel Dunton punting it away for Southfield A&T. And a flag is coming on him.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 81 on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Well, Justin, if you were still a coach on Aaron Marshall's staff, you'd be getting a little queasy here. Punting from your end zone is never fun.
Yeah, it's unfortunate events that happen. You know, that's why you might have took that penalty earlier that they had to put him in a real 3rd and long.
Dunton does get it away, but this is a high, short kick. Adrian Epps tried to call fair catch. Ball's on the turf. West Bloomfield had some bodies around that ball, and now they have got to check their pulse. It remains West Bloomfield football, just shy of Southfield A&T's 30. This got a little interesting, Justin, for Adrian Epps.
Yeah, when you're back there, you have to hold your blocks. You cannot be in a rush to get out. You have to hold your blocks for at least a 3 count, maybe even a 4 count this deep in your own territory, and that could have been disastrous for West Bloomfield as well. But they have to pick that up and make sure if they have to punt that they can protect the punter and let him get it off a little more clean than he did.
Semaj Morgan, the man at quarterback, but this is direct snap spot with Rick Nance not playing tonight. Get the ball in his hands and let the man go. Good gain on first down for Semaj Morgan and West Bloomfield. For Southfield A&T, Justin, if they're going to win this ball game, what do you think a couple of the keys are?
Yeah, well, number one, you want to make sure that you protect Isiah Marshall. You allow him to stay in the pocket. You allow him to do what he does and not feel like he has to take off on every play. And then defensively, you want to make West Bloomfield push the ball vertically. You want to get them in 3rd and longs, 2nd and longs, and make them uncomfortable with new quarterbacks back there in the system.
Yeah, that's what they did on drive number 1 of the game. Morgan fields the high snap. Running left, and man, he hit a wall. Matthias Davis, a crunch along with Nigel Dunton.
Yeah, typically with this motion, they're going to fake that jet sweep, but you kind of see the inexperience at offense. You're not getting a lot of fakes, and you know exactly what Semaj Morgan's doing when he gets the ball. Now, Southfield A&T still has to pick that up, and that should be a key indicator to stop that play throughout the game.
Dunton in there with Matthias Davis. Morgan on 3rd down 3. Running left again. Check it. That's Kenneth Jones. Busted it to the house. You got a West Bloomfield touchdown. It's Kenneth Jones, the 3rd for 6. And West Bloomfield strikes first.
There you go right here. If you're watching this right tight end, you get a really good block there. And then 21, who's playing quarterback a little, gets a good lead block. It's not a monstrous one, but he covers up and allows the running back to get through and take it to the house. And we do not, if you're Southfield A&T, you do not want to let them get comfortable into that scheme where they're just running right downhill at you and you're not stopping it.
Didn't work on drive number 1. It did work on drive number 2. Ryan Krauthammer hammers the extra point through. Touchdown number 9 to the air for Kenneth Jones, the 3rd, and just to the block and did the job here.
Yeah, you see Davis swaying just off to the left side there, gets a big kick out block, and then you get 21 peek her right through there, and it just looks beautiful play call, beautiful execution on the left side of the line. I know Coach Garrett over there, offensive line coach for West Bloomfield, is very happy with that production early in the game.
Only a couple of former Catholic Central Shamrock football players under Tom Mack could truly appreciate a play like that.
Yep, get that.
Kenneth Jones III, one of the better senior running backs in the state of Michigan. We've seen a few of these guys on our Football Fridays this year. Nolan Ray for Brother Rice. Great to have him back healthy and running the football for the Warriors.
Yeah, Kenneth Jones going to anchor up Grand Valley State University as an alum football player there. That we're going to like that young man up there in Allendale.
Did you win a national championship at Grand Valley?
Did, 2002. We actually have our 20-year anniversary, November 5th. They'll be playing Wayne State up at Allendale Lubber Stadium.
Congratulations, belatedly. Sounds like a heck of a day.
Makes you feel old. 20 years.
I mean, that's not what I was implying, but if you wanted to take it like that, sure.
Makes you feel old.
Jawan Jarrett back deep for Southfield A&T. Krauthammer swings that left leg through it. Jarrett's got a chance for a return. Jawan Jarrett slipping a tackle, but the cavalry came to get him, and once again, Southfield A&T with a long field to go.
And look, we didn't talk a whole lot about special teams because of all the firepower on offense and defense, but you see the punt that takes them down their own territory. They can't get out, then they almost block a punt, and now they have a great kickoff, and they pin it down again in the territory that Southfield A&T does not want to be in early in the game. They want some room to breathe and to run their plays.
Look, these guys can run the football. Liggins has run for 3 touchdowns this year. Javin Jones has run for 5. But this is an offense that wants to get the ball to Braceville, wants to get the ball to Jarrett. And as you're saying, you can't do that when you're starting drives at your 10-yard line.
Yeah, anytime you're pinned back this far in your territory, you risk a turnover or you risk getting a safety, and you have to be very careful with the football.
First drive for the Warriors started essentially in this same spot, and they went 3 and out. Best play on that drive was a 7-yard quarterback scramble for Marshall.
Matchup here you want to watch is this right tackle and left defensive end, Brandon Swain. It's going to be a big task for that right tackle all night, and want to make sure we watch that and see how that plays out.
Believes we are trying to fix the chains here. Alrighty, we're good to go. Marshall with time. Long throw near side, tipped it incomplete. Deontay Pippen, step for step with Braceville.
And the snap didn't come out necessarily clean, so that really disrupted the rhythm of the play. But you see Lorenzo Williams does a great job of getting into phase, using the sideline as the 12th man and squeezing. Now, with that being said, this is a catch that you might see Tashi Braceville usually make, hit him right in the helmet. And so great coverage, squeezing, and creating some uncomfortable setting there, but also should have been caught.
So after that, 2nd down 10. Marshall running option left. They pitch it with a whole ton of green turf. Royce Liggins making men miss and dragged down across the 40.
Oh.
Royce Liggins down, and we're not going to show you that replay. Royce Liggins just busted a big one. A guy who's such a great human interest story. He started this season as the scout team running back. Now he's the lead running back at Southfield A&T. He had never started a game at running back in his life until the 3rd game of the year. Just had a great run, but unfortunately he's down. Okay. It's a great run for Southfield A&T, Justin. Obviously, it does not end in a way that they would have wanted, but this could be a way that they're going to move the ball down the field tonight as West Bloomfield expects them to throw it.
Yeah, Coach Rich Pop is a great offensive coordinator for Southfield A&T. Has a great history, offensive coordinator, some big schools, and he really dialed up a nice play there. He loaded the wide side and ran the option to the boundary. West Bloomfield was not ready for it and went for a big play. Unfortunately, this young man got hurt, and hopefully don't lose him for the season, but it looks like it may be a serious injury.
Okay, so just a heads up, you probably got to look at what Royce Liggins' leg looked like after that play. We are going to show you this replay once. It is not as graphic as you may have seen, but just for those who are squeamish, we're giving you a heads up. It's a pretty nasty looking injury to Royce. Let's get another look at this play for Southfield A&T. Isiah Marshall and Liggins running the option really well.
Yeah, you see him right here running it, gets it out real quick, watching that defensive end, see what he does. He crashes into the quarterback, and he gets it out and makes a great run, this young man, and his ankle just gets caught, unfortunately, underneath. And we see that a lot in football. It's a violent game, and unfortunately, this young man is down.
Again, you just feel horrible for the young man. Aaron Marshall could not say enough nice things about Royce Liggins when we spoke to him earlier this week.
Gosh, yeah.
A guy who did not start the year as the running back. He'd never started as a running back until the 3rd game of the year. A breakout performer for Southfield A&T. And this is the absolute worst news.
Yeah, he really did have great things to say about Royce Liggins. Just said how he was a linebacker and how he picked up scout team running back one day and really just impressed everybody. Got the football, was running hard downhill, and it was a natural. And again, you know, all the athletes that are supposed to be on this field, you know, Kari Jackson and Rick Lance and now Royce Liggins out, it takes away some of the wind of the game. You want everybody fully loaded for this and to see everybody's best effort and best foot forward.
We're going to take a break here at Southfield A&T High School and come on back. It will be Warriors football when you come on back, but right now all we're thinking about is the health of Royce Liggins. We're back to Southfield in just a moment. West Bloomfield up 7-0. Warriors football when you're back in a moment. All right, so we're back at Southfield A&T High School. Just in case you're wondering what's going on, Royce Liggins just had an excellent run for Southfield A&T of about 30 yards, but as he was tackled, what looked to be a pretty gruesome injury happened, and they're still attending to the junior running back for Southfield A&T. Obviously a situation that is the absolute worst thing and last thing that we wanted to see, Justin, when we showed up at the stadium tonight. Aaron Marshall, coaching staff for Southfield A&T, and the entire coaching staff for West Bloomfield, you couldn't help but think that the last thing they're thinking about is football right now. But obviously you have coaching experience, longtime assistant coach at Detroit Catholic Central. This is a part of football. For better or for worse, things like this happen. So as a coach, and in your playing experience as well, how do you mentally lock back in when something like this happens?
Yeah, I mean, you have to recognize it. We're all human beings. We all have emotion. You want to bring the team in, talk to them about it, clarify what the injury is. It's going to be okay eventually. And then you have to rally around it. You know, you have to control the emotion. Do not let it get chaotic, but you have to use it. Play for your brother. Rally around that on the football field and go get a W. And that's, if I'm Coach Marshall and knowing him as long as I have, that's what the message is going to be.
Again, in case you're just joining us, the man who's down, Royce Liggins, is a really cool story. Came into the game with just about 30 carries and 3 touchdowns on the year. Now consider this. Entering this season, he had never played a snap of running back in his life. He was a starting linebacker on the JV team last year. He started this year as the scout team running back. And by Aaron Marshall's own admission, Royce was killing their defense, so he decided to make him the starting running back. And by the 3rd week of the year, he'd won the job, and he was having one heck of a year.
Yeah, and it shows what type of selfless teammate he is. He jumped in on scout because they didn't have one. They didn't have anybody giving a great look, and then ends up making a great opportunity out of it. And, you know, no matter how long you play and coach this game, you never get used to this. These young men and coaches put so much the community behind it into these games, into these seasons, and then you have a big injury like this, and it does take the wind out of the sails of the stadium. Everybody's praying for this young man, and hopefully he can get back up on his feet and finish his high school career strong, because he's a great talent.
We're thinking about you, all those Southfield A&T Warriors on the sidelines. We love covering these high school games. We love shining the outstanding individuals in communities across Metro Detroit, across our great state of Michigan. And what the beautiful thing is about high school sports, high school athletics, high school football, is that for so many of these young men and women, this will be the highest level they play. It means so much to the communities. It means so much to them. And again, Justin, to what you're speaking to, this is why when something like this happens, your heart breaks over and over, because this is the last thing that's supposed to happen on a perfect October Friday night for football between two teams that very well could make the state championship game this year.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you're losing a very key piece to your offense, a running back that complements Isiah Marshall, Tashi Braceville, all these guys so much. And again, they're going to rally around that, but as a teammate, it does affect you. And as a coach, you have to rally the guys around the fact that your brother in arms is down, and you have to step up, and then the next guy up at running back, right? Who's going to fill the shoes and keep their scheme and keep everything honest and what they've practiced all week.
Natalie Kerwin's down there. Nat, what's going on?
Yeah, standing right over there right now. Ambulance just pulled up. They just brought out a stretcher, and the emotions right now are just high. Both teams, even West Bloomfield players, keep going over to Royce Liggins, giving him a pat on the back, trying to squeeze his hand. It looks like they're just trying to give him some words of encouragement. On A&T's side, of course, they're all taking a knee as well. Head coach Isiah Marshall over here right by Royce's side. He appears to be emotional as well. Just, you know, a lot of just raw emotion over here on the sideline. I can see it in the players' eyes on both sides that, you know, this is obviously something that they didn't want to see happen, and so quickly in the game too. It's just, it's really hard to see.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah,
right? It's the last thing you want to happen.
And regardless of the rivalry and what we play in the beginning of, you know, there's hate this week and all of that, as a competitor and as a football player in this fraternity, you don't ever want to see this happen to anybody. And, you know, obviously want to continue to play clean football. And, you know, again, injuries are part of the game. Evan, you talked about it earlier. And, you know, now we got 3 really good players out of this game due to injury.
Yeah, in case you missed it at the top of the broadcast, Rick Nance, the quarterback for West Bloomfield, Kari Jackson, one of their best defensive players at the linebacker spot, they're both out. That was before the game. They were not expected to play today. And now Royce Liggins, the top running back for Southfield A&T, he will not be returning to this game. Now, the good news is for Southfield A&T, again, it feels strange talking about, frankly, personnel and football moves in this, because that's not what's important. The young man is what's important. But Javin Jones is a very capable backup for Southfield A&T. They have excellent talent. They will be able to overcome this, at least on the football field, in terms of mentally. Frankly, I wouldn't blame them if this is something that weighs heavy. You know, Justin, and we just saw a shot of Isiah Marshall, the head coach for Southfield A&T, speaking to Royce Liggins. So many football players, when they speak of the best coaches they've ever had, they don't bring up a college coach, they don't bring up a professional coach, they bring up a high school coach because of the father figure that they were to them. This is a moment where Marshall gets to be a father figure, not just to Royce Liggins, but to every young man on his sideline here.
Yeah, and in Southfield A&T, there's a huge community base here. Again, we talked about it from the Little League program. A lot of these guys coming from the Southfield Falcons, and the culture's definitely changed at Southfield A&T. There's not a lot of entitlement. There's a lot of focus due to the coaching staff, and it's because you care about people. You don't care about football players and what they've done for you lately. And sometimes when you get in the business side of college and the NFL, that's exactly what it is. It's about jobs and it's about money. High school is the most genuine, purest form of football that even the top of the NFL players will say was the best times of their life and where they remember the most about their football career. So it's important that, you know, everybody does care about each other. Community comes together, because football is a fraternity at the end of the day. It's a fraternity that will carry you through relationships in life. And, you know, you see 2 great programs, 2 great communities, again, supporting this young man and what he's going through right now.
Keeping an eye on what's happening with Royce Liggins as best we can. Again, it feels strange to focus on football sorts of things when real life is happening here. As soon as something happens with Royce Liggins and there's a positive update, we will let you know as soon as we humanly can. When it does come to the football side of things, Southfield A&T has one more regular season game remaining after this game tonight against West Bloomfield. Another challenge awaits, Justin. It's River Rouge. Now, Southfield A&T has played some of the heavy hitters this year. They've played Cass Tech, they've played Clarkston. Harper Woods is talented every single year. But if you're going to get ready for a playoff run, you may as well get ready for a playoff run against West Bloomfield and River Rouge.
Well, the thing that I noticed the most about the schedule and the scores is you got these really high scores on both sides at the beginning of the year with Cass Tech and Clarkston. They're giving up a lot of points defensively, but they're continuously getting better. And now the last 3 games only giving up about 26 points. So that's a trend that you want to see as a defensive coaching staff for Southfield A&T to get ready for the playoffs. You know, you're progressing and you're peaking at the right time.
That's a really good point you make. Southfield A&T has only given up 26 combined points in the last 3 games. Coaching staff has shuffled some guys from linebacker to safety and vice versa. done a really good job improving the defense throughout the year. When it comes to West Bloomfield's schedule, Lakers always play a bunch of heavy hitters. They also played Harper Woods in week 2 of the year. The only loss is to the only team that can apparently beat them the last 2 years. Rochester Adams has beaten them 3 times in the last 2 years. Ike comes up next week for West Bloomfield. Then it's on to the playoffs for these Lakers.
Yeah, and Adams is a tremendous football team. Made it to the state finals against Belleville last year, and they got West Bloomfield's number right now, and most likely will run back into them in the playoffs. But both schedules are iron sharpens iron. I think with the days that I played football in the 90s, you couldn't lose a game and make the playoffs, and if you did, you're really gambling. Now with the 6-3, 5-4, you are really getting stacked schedules, really good openers, really good crossovers at the end of the season, and it's great for high school football, and it's great for the competition in the state of Michigan. And it's why you see so many good recruits going out to everywhere from LSU to Georgia to USC to Michigan, Michigan State to Penn State. We are really starting to step up our game, and I think we were number 3 in the country for NFL players out of the city of Detroit, out of any city in the country. So that's pretty amazing, and it's because the competition has definitely ramped up.
So for all of you just flipping on the football game and wondering why there hasn't been action for a while, Southfield A&T running a beautiful option play to the left side of the field. Isiah Marshall, the quarterback, pitching to the running back Royce Liggins as he gained 30 yards and crossed the 40-yard line. He was tackled in a way that led to an apparent leg injury. It was a very graphic apparent injury, so we're not going to show it to you again. And as they surround the junior running back, number 22, Royce Liggins, ambulance right there, awaiting him to load him into the ambulance. Unfortunately, both of these teams are in the unenviable spot of trying to stay warm and trying not to think about what's happening literally 20 yards away.
And if you want to find a bright spot, at least he's a junior. You know, if it's a senior and it's an injury, that might be a career-ending injury just as far as if you don't play college ball or not. But he's a junior, and he's going to have a senior campaign still if this ends up becoming the end of the season for him. And at least that's a bright spot that he still has some of his career left.
Been delayed about 20 minutes here. As Aaron Marshall, God bless him, has stood by Royce Liggins' side the entire time.
Yeah, the one thing, too, that you have to keep in mind is, staying warm.
Yeah.
If you don't start stretching, you don't start keeping the guys moving around on both sides, there's cramps and there's other injuries that can happen. And it kind of takes the flow and the rhythm and the energy of the game out. And you have to really just spark that back up as soon as they blow the whistle and we're ready to go. And so just keeping guys focused, not letting them look up into the stands, making sure they're focused on the game and the next play is very important right now.
We're going to head back to commercial break and return to Southfield A&T High School with, fingers crossed, some good news on Royce Liggins. We'll be back as soon as we can. This football game delayed. As all our thoughts and prayers are with Royce Liggins. Back in a moment. Back at Southfield A&T High School, where we continue to follow the injury to Royce Liggins, which happened about 20 minutes ago. On a long run of about 30 yards as he fell to the turf. Pretty gruesome injury happened. We are not going to show you the replay because of the gruesome nature of it. Natalie Kerwin's down there observing the scene. And Natalie, any update for us?
Yeah, Evan, coaches still surrounding Royce right now, as well as EMS. They appear to have given him some sort of pain medicine. I overheard the EMS ask him if that has kicked in yet. Coaches and EMS squeezing both of his hands, as it also appears they are trying to take off his cleat at the moment. You just keep hearing words all around him like, "You're okay, bud, it's going to be okay." I've heard that from multiple coaches on both teams, giving him those positive words of encouragement. And that's all that they can do at the moment, but still high emotions on both sides, players and coaches and people in the stands. Just it's silent over here, and they're all hoping Royce will be okay.
Yeah, Natalie, it's what we were saying earlier. This is horrible. This is the worst, last thing you want to see
at a high school football game, at a game that everyone was looking forward to. A couple of 6-1 teams, Division I prospects all over the place. In case you missed it earlier, Penn State's head coach James Franklin arrived to the game via a helicopter, as he has a pretty important game of his own in Ann Arbor tomorrow.
And some really good kids from Detroit playing for the Penn State defense. Jalen Reed from Martin Luther King, the King brothers from Cass Tech. So he's done a decent job of recruiting in the state, and I'm sure Michigan's not happy about that and want to prove a point tomorrow. But it's looking to be a great matchup in Ann Arbor, and he's going to be excited on at noon tomorrow. Nittany Lions versus the Wolverines.
Bunch of ranked matchups in the college football universe tomorrow. You got Michigan, Penn State.
Tennessee, Alabama.
Tennessee, Alabama's a decent little game.
TCU, Oklahoma State.
You're forgetting the big one. Syracuse, NC State.
There we go.
Huge game in the. I was about to say Carrier Dome. It's no longer called the Carrier Dome.
Corner out of Country Day. Isaiah Johnson, transferred from Dartmouth, plays for Syracuse, having a great year.
Just wanted to transfer to a better academic school. You know what I mean?
There we go.
Just saw a shot of number 1 in white and green, Riquez Nance, the starting quarterback for West Bloomfield. He is not playing today. As you can see, there's a cast on his left hand. They expect him back for the playoffs. He did warm up. He did throw the ball, but he's not going to play.
I think sometimes because you have such good talent around you, a great offensive lineman and Amir Herring, and you have Semaj Morgan and all these weapons that, you know, the quarterback doesn't get talked about as much, but somebody has to deliver the ball. And he's done that very well for over 1,000 yards this season. And I know they're missing him tonight, but want to get him back for the playoffs.
Peker as well has been lining up at quarterback for West Bloomfield. They have yet to attempt to pass tonight. Again, I think I speak for Justin. I think I speak for Natalie. I think I speak for our entire crew here. It feels very strange to talk about football in normal X's and O's terms when you have what is going on with Royce Liggins right in front of us. And everyone in this stadium, everyone in our production truck, everyone back in our offices down the road here in Southfield is thinking about Royce and hoping for the best news possible.
Everything we've heard about him from Coach Marshall, the head coach of Southfield A&T, is he's a special young man, has a lot of character, has a lot of heart. There's no doubt that he'll bounce back off of this injury, get back on this football field one day and do his thing.
God bless you, Royce. We're pulling for you, my friend. So now, Justin, I repeat what I just said a few seconds ago. Feels really weird to talk about football with what just happened, but we're going to do our absolute best the rest of the ball game, and forgive us for these next few minutes as Royce Liggins is off the field and we return to football action. We're over halfway into the first quarter. Southfield A&T's got the ball down by a touchdown here. Marshall over the middle, incomplete, trying to hit Donovan Anderson. And once again, Justin, as we do pivot back to focusing on the football game, the fact of the matter is they haven't been playing football for a half hour. How do you try to get warm again?
Yeah, you saw him warming up at the, when they figured that Royce Liggins was going to be moved off the field. And, I would expect them actually to take a big shot because the defense has been sitting as well. But here they go, starting to scheme back up and get back into this football game and try to win one for their brother.
That's Javin Jones on the run, and a nice open field tackle made by Robert Harris, who goes by Rock.
Yeah, and he had to make an open field tackle. It's just not easy when you have this many athletes, and did a really good job as breaking his feet down and getting there. Very impressive tackle by that young man.
So now it's 3rd down and 5. Southfield A&T has had a couple of 3rd downs so far in this first quarter. They had a 3rd and 9 on their first drive that they couldn't convert.
Right now, 3rd and mid-range. Your playbook is really open, and look for them to try to get some space here with Isiah Marshall.
There he goes on the run. There's the wheels we were telling you about. Isiah Marshall keeps the drive alive.
And Isiah does a good job of always making sure he carries his fakes up, being an athlete, catching a high snap. But again, he's watching that defensive end, and if that defensive end just creeps in a little bit, you better believe Isiah's going to see that and hit the edge. And they talked about it all week, the offensive coaches, Coach Pop, Coach Marshall for Southfield A&T, that they wanted to attack the edges. They do respect the middle of the defense for West Bloomfield, and that they were going to try to get outside.
A couple of productive runs for Isiah Marshall in this ball game. On the year, he's run for nearly 650 yards and 12 touchdowns. In Jarrett's hands, he bobbled it, he got it, and he turned it into a pretty good game for Southfield A&T.
Yeah, second time we have a little problem with the snap exchange. Right here fumbles the ball. But again, that left side defensive end for West Bloomfield cannot get nosy inside. As soon as he gives that edge up, that jet is open, or Isiah is going to keep the ball and take it. So have to be disciplined and have to contain and push everything back into the teeth of the defense.
Juwan Jarrett, a transfer from River Rouge, where he played defense last year. Right now, he may be the best offensive player in the state of Michigan.
He's exploded onto the scene. It's going to be fun to see what he does tonight.
Marshall given time. Down the field, incomplete. Pippin on Braceful. That apparently is your matchup on the outside tonight.
Yeah, again, you're seeing this great coverage here. Pippin, he's just squeezing out the Tashi Braceful. Obviously a very good wide receiver. What we like to see Tashi do is try to stem it inside a little more. He has some room to the sideline. He has some space to create, and if he gets enough room, he can go up and get that football. But 2 great plays by Pippin now in a row on Tashi Braceful.
Faking the option, that's going nowhere. Jeremiah Smith in there, helping to make the stop for West Bloomfield. And now Southfield A&T's got a decision to make. Jonathan Gabriel in there as well.
Yeah, Jonathan Gabriel, again, talked about being disciplined. He doesn't crash in now. He's sitting and being disciplined and is able to really make them not feel comfortable pitching the ball outside and then making the great tackle there on the quarterback.
Southfield A&T keeps the offense on the field. Going for it, 4th down 3. Play action. Tipped, incomplete. Braceful, missed. Turnover on downs, Southfield A&T.
I don't necessarily love that play call. I think you have Isiah Marshall down there. You can get right downhill, right quick with him. He's a strong, big quarterback, but they try to, they see the slant there and they try to go for it. It doesn't work out.
That was a late flag.
After the play, we have unsportsmanlike, number 8 on the defense. That's going to be a 15-yard penalty, 1st down White.
That's on Adrian Epps. And Justin, if you were still coaching, you would have a few choice words for Adrian.
Yeah, not smart. You're in a big game. You can't have that. You see the slangs going to Tashi Braceful right there. Has a little space, just could not connect. And again, you might expect them to keep that with their dual threat running back who can get downhill. He's 205. He's strong. He's big. Might want to see him keep it. But again, they're going for it. It was a 4th down situation because they have him pinned back in their own territory.
Kenneth Jones just scored a rushing touchdown of about 30 yards on the last drive for West Bloomfield. Remember, their starting quarterback, Rick Nance, is hurt and not playing tonight. So they're cycling a bunch of guys through. It's time to give to Ralph Rogers. Running right, gaining a few on 1st down.
And this is what you kind of lose with Rick Nance, right? The quarterbacks right now that are playing are not true quarterbacks, and they don't carry out their fakes great, so you're going to really get a key indicator of what they're running and not have to honor other things off of that play call. So although they're getting some yardage there, they might want to look at trying to carry out some of those play fakes to keep Southfield A&T's defense honest.
For what it's worth, last week West Bloomfield against Oxford ran it 41 times and only tried 7 passes.
Really looking to spread them out to run here.
Jones fields the high snap, tries to navigate that traffic. Running right, and then the cavalry came to get him. 3rd down. So now, Justin, here's the deal. Usually on 3rd down and about 5, you want to throw. But as you're talking about, the threat to throw, they haven't even tried to throw tonight.
Yeah, and if you are, it's going to be a short pass. You got to gain confidence for who's going to throw that pass, or you're going to get into a bubble or a screen, which West Bloomfield really likes doing a whole lot of. At the end of the day, you're going to keep it in your athlete's hand. You're getting some success on the edge there and looking for a play here from Semaj Morgan to potentially fake it inside and get to the edge. And that's what you do not want.
Prior to the play, false start on the offense, number 66. It's a 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
It's on the center, Dallin Henry.
And when you have different quarterbacks coming in, you might see 3 different quarterbacks. You've got different cadence. You've got a different comfort level from the center. So obviously, even different motions with their hands, it doesn't matter. It's just different for that center.
And I think Southfield A&T just gave him the 5 back.
Prior to the snap, encroachment on the defense. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
All right, so let's just re-rack it. We'll get a 3rd and 6 after all.
I'm taking Semaj Morgan running over Amir Herring's side and getting right downhill right now.
There he goes. You called it, but he's not going to get there. Good stick on the outside for Southfield A&T. And West Bloomfield likely forced to punt.
You also have to credit they sat around for 30 minutes, so I see we're making some penalties here. You're seeing a little bit of sloppy play, but again, you got a lull in the game, and that affects you as a player, and you have to get back into a rhythm.
Again, in case you're just joining us, Royce Liggins was injured for Southfield A&T, an injury that caused the game to be delayed by nearly a half hour. If there's any updates to pass along, we will certainly provide it to you. Krauthammer punts it away. Bounds at the 45. Keeps on rolling inside the 30. West Bloomfield trying to push that ball further a little more, and it'll die right around the 25. Tashi Braceful is one of the finer wide receivers in the Midwest. This man is a walking highlight. How about this catch last week against Oak Park? You know, it was funny, Justin, when we were speaking with Southfield A&T's coaching staff earlier this week. Believe it or not, that may not even crack the top 3 catches that Tashi Braceful has ever had. This is an honest question we asked their coaching staff. Can he catch a football normally, or must he try to pull an Odell Beckham on every single catch?
Well, it's definitely graceful. It's a work of art, and I think him and Nick Marsh look like very similar players when it comes to the type of catches that they have that are just tremendous and amazing week in, week out.
Coming to Jarrett near side, tripped up by his shoelaces. Well done by Adrian Epps, number 8.
Yeah, it was a really good job coming downhill in the lane, controlling his feet and his balance to make that tackle. And you're starting to see Southfield A&T, they're not going to sway inside. The Notre Dame commit, he's strong, he's big, he's physical. They continue to run away from him, and they're finding a little bit of success.
Could be the final play of the first quarter. 2nd down 6 for Southfield A&T.
Marshall running away, throwing high for Braceville. That pressure again, Justin, for West Bloomfield.
Yeah, and it's the pressure, and it's also the back end of the defense. You're doing a great job covering man-to-man. There's a lot of pressure on you. And Isiah, you're starting to see his IQ playing. Some quarterbacks are going to try to force something to happen. He doesn't. He throws it away and lives to play another down.
Keep an eye on Isiah Marshall running for a first down here. On the last third down for Southfield A&T, he did scramble for a first down.
And I love a screen call on this play. You got a really aggressive defense. Throw some blitz packages in there. Let them all come upfield and hit them right behind to get the first down.
They'll take a deep shot. Looking for Braceville. In traffic. It's incomplete. Tried to squeeze it into a double covered situation. Epps had part of the breakup, and now Adrian's down.
And I thought he made that interception from the booth here. It was a tremendous job of getting over top. And again, we got another player down. This is just terrible to see.
Tyrese Grice, the head coach for West Bloomfield, coming over to check Adrian Epps, who helped to cover the back end of this play.
Yeah, and you're throwing to the boundary side of the field, so you don't have a lot of room to work. And Deontay Pippin is doing a fantastic job against Tashi Braceville, and also now getting some help from the safety over top.
Adrian landed awkwardly on that left leg.
And when you have that type of help over top as a corner, you can be much more aggressive, really get into the body of the wide receiver. And the job of the safety is to get over top, do not let any wide receiver get deeper than you, and really ball hawk that football. And that's exactly what he did, almost for a really big play for changing momentum.
Well, you never know what you're going to get when you show up to the stadium. We didn't expect a helicopter in James Franklin, and we also didn't expect a 7-0 football game between two teams that average about 50 points per game this year. Kenneth Jones has scored for West Bloomfield. Southfield A&T has fourth down. When you come on back. Everybody stay with us after the game for Football Friday's Overtime, powered by State Champs. Mickey York and Lauren Plan will recap the best of the night around Michigan high school football. Plus, we'll have post-game reaction from our Game of the Week right here at Southfield A&T. We have so many great games around the state this week, so stick around. That's coming up right after the game. Football Friday is presented by your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Kind of like the slate in college football tomorrow, we've got ranked games across the state of Michigan all over the place. As you evaluate the games going on right now, Justin, what do you see on that screen?
Well, we see some dogfights right now. MLK and Cass Tech tied up. You better believe the city title's up for the line right there, and they're going to be fighting like a fist fight in the street. Saline and Dexter. Saline coming off a big loss against Bedford and trying to prove themselves. And De La Salle, River Rouge 0-0. What are we talking about here? Livonia, Franklin, Belleville up 21. You know they have a high-powered offense, very tough to slow down, and Livonia Franklin's going to have a big task to climb back into that game.
So that's Adrian Epps, who you saw in the last play of the first quarter land awkwardly. He was helped off the field in a game that's been marred by injury. Diop to punt it. Pretty good looking punt. Bloomfield will let it roll, and Southfield A&T will down it right around the 30. So Justin, we keep talking about the fact that West Bloomfield doesn't have their starting quarterback. West Bloomfield has this person out, that person out. Now Adrian Epps has been helped off the field due to injury. But the fact of the matter is, about 50 seconds into the second quarter, they've got the lead and the ball. Do you think this is the type of game that they want to be playing right now?
This is exactly what West Bloomfield wanted to happen in this game as far as how the clock control, ball control. They don't care if it's a high-scoring game, and they're keeping Southfield A&T off the scoreboard. So this is exactly what they wanted to see. We saw a little bit of that in the Sasante sauce, talking about the ball control, clock control, and that's exactly what's happening. And again, they're just spreading out to run. I don't think they have a great intention to throw the football.
They have not tried to throw it once tonight. Right on cue, they are going to throw it. It's to Semaj Morgan. He tried his darndest to make a little magic. But that is pursuit football for Southfield A&T. We saw them working on that in practice earlier this week. It doesn't take one man to bring Semaj Morgan down.
No, this is just a long handoff, a stop pass, and you see a great pursuit from the teeth of the defense. You see Big D tackles, big number 70 running out there and getting to Semaj, and that's what you want to see in championship football. Attack, 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 pursue, pursue, pursue. Great job by Southfield A&T.
I think Semaj Morgan caught that ball. Look to the right, nowhere to go. Look to the left, oh boy, nowhere to go there too. He'll line up at quarterback now here, Justin. 2nd out 10. Give left side, Rogers. That cuts it back up the middle and makes it a 3rd down and more manageable for West Bloomfield here.
Yeah, Southfield A&T is really playing really good team defense right now. They're containing the edges. They're not allowing the speed of West Bloomfield to get outside of them, and everybody is running to the football. And that might seem simple, but it's not. You have to practice that and rep that every single day to make sure that that's a natural reaction. It's not something you have to force.
Kenneth Jones, the running back, in the Wildcat look here. Keeps, runs up the middle, and he is going to be short of the 1st down.
And let's talk about why this is happening. You don't see Southfield typically in a cover 3. They are in a cover 3 right now, so they can get an extra guy in the box, which means they can have 8 guys down there to stop the run because they're a predictable offense right now without the quarterback. So they're doing a very good job of stopping the run right now because of that.
West Bloomfield is lined up to go for it here, Justin. You surprised?
I am surprised. It's very dangerous right now.
Does the gamble work? Jones running and leaning. The gamble did work. 1st down, West Bloomfield.
And look, you are going to have some confidence when you have some big boys up front. You have Amir Herring, you have some of these other great offensive line, and Dalen Henry and Terrence Daniels, Jamar Johnson, all well coached, and they fired off the football. And look, if you believe in yourself, this is exactly what you're going to do in short situations where you know you want to continue to run that clock and control the football.
From the end of the run, 1st down.
And also an unforced error on Southfield A&T will move this drive along for West Bloomfield. Justin, you just brought up how West Bloomfield is running to the left side of that offensive line. Natalie's going to tell us a little bit later about all the exciting things coming up for 56, Amir Herring. I'll just say this. Running behind a guy who's going to go to Michigan, not a half bad idea.
No, and he's not only an extremely large individual, but he's a dancing bear. He's got really good feet, he's got great hip leverage, and he fires his hands. Sometimes those big guys you don't see as aggressive because they use their size, but he really has a punch, and he drives his feet on contact, and that's exactly what you want to see from an elite offensive lineman.
It's a teenager who's 6'4", 310.
Not too shabby.
Most of us were not that big when we were 18. Jones again, running that way again. West Bloomfield has figured something out here on this drive.
Yeah, and you have to start either bringing somebody else to that edge or stacking over top of that DN. So if Amir Herring does get his hands on and is open up some holes that you have somebody to fill right now. If you're filling from too much depth, they're going to have too much time with that speed to hit what they're hitting right now. And they're starting to gain some ground, and they're starting to run clock off the scoreboard.
Kenneth Jones back there again. Try the right side this time. Shifting his way, lowering his shoulder. He does have enough for the 1st down for West Bloomfield. Let's get an update on Adrian Epps, who was helped off the field a few seconds ago. Natalie's got a little bit more on that.
Yeah, Adrian Epps' last play of that 1st quarter went down. I just went and spoke with West Bloomfield's athletic trainer. Adrian landed on his leg straight, is what she told me. He appeared and has injured his left knee. For now, they're just going to ice him. They're not sure if he's going to get back into the game. They're just going to see after halftime, so it'll be a decision once that 3rd quarter begins. But again, landed on his leg straight, and it is his left knee that they are tending to.
All right, Natalie, thanks. Plowing ahead, Kenneth Jones once again. A good run for West Bloomfield that keeps him ahead of the chains.
Yeah, and they're going to have to start doing something a little different up front with Southfield A&T because you just have a bigger offensive line than the defensive line. You got a big man down there, obviously, in Amir Herring and Terrence Daniels, but they keep working that left side, the midsection of the offense. And, you know, what the counter has to be is either stack the box even more or start bringing some blitzes to disrupt those blockers.
Peeker, the back on the right side. They fake it to him. There's the blitz Justin was calling for. Did you used to work as a defensive coordinator or something?
I did, but I didn't blitz as much as I probably should have. Aaron Bradley does a really good job. Typically not playing both sides of the ball the entire game, but they see that there's having some fits up in the middle of the defense, and you put a big body that's very quick, bring a blitz to occupy some of those offensive linemen, and you see them do a really good job of getting a tackle for loss.
So after that big play for Aaron Bradley, is third down for West Bloomfield as they try to keep this impressive drive alive. Give running right. A lot of room. Right side. Ralph Rogers. Goodbye. Ralph Rogers, a sprinter on the track team, and he won a race to the end zone for 6.
And I love the setup of this play. You're working the middle, pounding the middle, pounding the middle, making the defense really squeeze in, and then they pop it outside. You see a great block by wide receiver number 10, Trenton Allison. Brandon Smith, the wide receiver coach at West Bloomfield, is going to love that. They take a great pride in stalk blocking and get another big touchdown, putting Southfield A&T down by 14.
Southfield A&T has the offensive firepower to stay in any football game. But right now, West Bloomfield bringing the fight to them. Krauthammer tacks on the extra point. West Bloomfield has not attempted a pass all night. Who cares? They've scored a couple of touchdowns. Good old-fashioned power football coming right into your living room. Ralph got a block on the outside, and Rogers was gone. It's all Lakers so far.
Welcome back to Southfield A&T. West Bloomfield just scored. They're up 14-0, and a big reason why on that last play was their offensive tackle, Amir Herring. Let me tell you just a little about him. Just last week, he was asked to be invited to play in the Under Armour All-American game taking place in January. This is a big deal. This means he is in the top 100 of the nation's best high school players to be selected by ESPN to participate in this game. Many of those players go on to have successful college and NFL careers. He was just celebrated last week with an honorary game jersey in front of friends and family. Now at West Bloomfield, only 3 guys have played in any sort of postseason competition since Coach Tyrese Grice has been on staff. This includes 2018 graduate Lance Dixon, 2021 graduate Donovan Edwards, and now class of 2023, Amir Herring.
You know, Natalie, that's such a great point you bring up about Amir Herring. Yes, he's outstanding, but Justin, he's also working against a guy in Brandon Davis-Swain every single day in practice who's committed to go to Notre Dame. It's the best, making the best even better, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it couldn't be a bigger blessing for him in his development. I mean, if he's playing against a normal kid every day, he's not going to get a lot of work, and iron sharpens iron, and that's exactly what's happening. Does a great job. He's going to play the Under Armour American game as well as the Polynesian Bowl.
Juwan Jarrett with a chance for a return. Southfield A&T needs a bit of a spark. That'll help. For the first time today, they're going to actually start past their own 10-yard line. So, Amir Herring, one of the finer offensive linemen in the state of Michigan. We spoke so highly, Justin, about the quarterback talent in the state of Michigan earlier tonight. But we should also be talking about how many good offensive linemen, especially senior offensive linemen, we have in Michigan.
Yeah, Jonathan Slack, I was able to call the game in the state championship last year. He's a tremendous football player. And Cole Dellinger, the amount of pancakes he has for breakfast every game is amazing. So, yeah, we've been turning out some really good linemen. Midwest football is exactly about that. Big Ten football, a power game. Obviously, the game has changed and evolved into a little more spread offense and passing. But these are some really impressive impressive individuals all the way down, and you see King has 2 on that list. And football starts up front. Let's not get it twisted. Football starts up front. If you can't block for the guys, the skill guys that are fast, can catch, can run, you don't have much of a chance to get them into their groove. And you see guys across the state going to some big universities and making our state proud.
On that kickoff return, brief delay as a West Bloomfield Laker slow to get off the field. That's Christian Hood, number 29, in white and green. To his feet, walking off the field under his own power. Always a really good sign.
Southfield A&T needs to start getting a little more diverse in the offense. Put this game on Isiah Marshall's back and try to get Juwan Jarrett the ball more.
That's called filling a hole. Hello, Xavier Davis.
I mean, you see the D tackle, number 55, Davis, just very quick with his hands, gets in the backfield right now, beats the block, and gets a great tackle for loss. The Southfield A&T is trying to keep the defense honest by throwing a play here and there in the middle, but we know they want to stay away from that because of how strong they are in the middle, because of guys like Davis just really causing havoc.
Second down long for Southfield A&T. Marshall with the pocket collapsing. Look at him navigate the pocket. You talk about a magic trick. Isiah Marshall, first down.
I mean, you don't teach this. This is God-given. And you see the pocket break down, and you see the savvy by Isiah Marshall making a couple tackles miss and then finding space and going. And this is what he does so well. And although you don't want to always live and die on it, you have to use what's going to work. And you might see them just give him some automatic, hey, we're going to set you up in the pass, but we want you to take off right now.
And that's the type of play that makes defensive coordinators lose all of the sleep. We called the perfect play, and he still ran for a first down.
Yeah, when you have man-to-man defense as much as they play, you're going to not have a lot of support in that second level into that secondary, so you're going to get big chunk plays.
Matthias Davis, here's a chunk play. Into the secondary he goes, and for the first time all night, Southfield A&T has some offensive juice.
Yeah, and you'll see Isiah Marshall in that play will loosen up a defense a little bit. It puts a little people flat-footed on their heels, and you see a really good job of that right side of the offensive line, especially number 72, Nate Green, senior, right tackle, does a great job of opening up that hole, and then 2 chunk plays in a row now and getting some momentum back and energy for Southfield A&T before the half.
And remember as well, they get the ball to start the second half. This is an offense that is never out of a game. High snap, give Davis, and that high snap really nullified the play from the get-go.
I mean, it's unbelievable how well coached the defensive line is. They just really do a lot of small technique things you're not going to necessarily catch at home, but how they don't waste movement, how they get to their first step right now. And a small thing like a bad snap is going to have these guys chomping at the bits because they are so good technically. Coach Ivey, we talked about him earlier in the program, just does a fantastic job with the D-line over the years at West Bloomfield, and they have to get that snap controlled because it's wasting time and it's wasting movement.
Best drive of the game for Southfield A&T. Second down 11, coming up on 4 minutes to go, first half.
You have man-to-man with 1 safety over top, so that's a white here. White safety.
Marshall down the sidelines. Tashi Braceful again matched up in coverage. Deontay Pippin is having one whale of a night.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, if you don't know who Deontay Pippin is, or there's colleges in this building, which I know there is, you are taking note of this young man. Although Southfield A&T is not making it extremely difficult on him because they're throwing into the boundary, not giving a lot of space, but 2 of those catches, Tashi Braceful is usually making those catches. So Deontay Pippin maybe getting in his head a little bit. He's been smothering him the entire game, and they need a big play from him right now in the 3rd and long.
Doesn't it feel like they've been living in 3rd down and 11 all night?
Yeah, and if I'm looking at this right now, I might have a design QB draw or roll out to get some space. You see man-to-man again. I might run away from Swain, try to get a big chunk play by Isiah Marshall.
Incomplete. A lot of miscommunication on that play. So, now, Justin, considering this scenario, it's about 4 minutes to go in the first half. You're getting it to start the second half. It's 4th down and long. Your offense hasn't looked good all night. I know you haven't punted in the last 4 weeks, but if you're Aaron Marshall, what decision are you making here?
Yeah, I'm punting it because I want to give them a long field. 4 minutes is a lot of time in a football game, and with the way that they've been dominating up front here the last couple drives at West Bloomfield, it's very possible that they could take that full chunk and get another score on the board. But they are going for it. I would stay away from Tashi. They're expecting it. That safety is eyeing him down right now, looking in the back. He's pretty deep, making sure nothing gets behind him.
They'll try it. Marshall throwing. It's caught. Zavi Bowman lowering that shoulder as the Lakers push him back. It's a first down for Southfield A&T. Isiah Marshall slinging at the best time.
And look, if you're a college recruiter or you're a head coach of this team, that's exactly what you want to see your quarterback do. Stay poised in the pocket, had a man in his face, and we're not talking about little men. We're talking about some big-time Division I recruits, and he gets the ball off and zips it right in there for a huge first down for Southfield A&T. They really needed that for their momentum and confidence, and now they got first down, move the chains, have a great opportunity to score before half.
Aaron Marshall, a gambling man. He just won the bet. Marshall pumping, throwing, wide open Jawan Jarrett. That is the first time all day that a Southfield A&T wide receiver has had room to roam.
Yeah, I like that, and they just outflaked the defense. Really got to the flats very quick. Isiah Marshall noticed it, recognized it, and got the ball out. And that's not an easy throw. He was near the backside hash, the boundary hash, getting it across the field, and got it out for another good chunk play. And they want to get in more of these situations, 2nd and short, 3rd and short. They've been, Evan, you said it earlier, they've been in too many 3rd and 2nd long situations. Puts a lot of pressure on an offense.
This makes you one-dimensional.
Look here at the bottom here. Uncovered man.
And I think West Bloomfield's coaching staff saw that. Timeout Lakers. Tyrese Grice made his bones as a defensive coordinator, so when there is an issue on defense, the man is not going to be happy. Southfield A&T down by a couple of scores, but they're moving for the first time tonight. And now a message from the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. This special presentation of MHSA High School Football on Bally Sports Detroit, proudly presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Down to the sidelines and our own Natalie Kerwin. Natalie, hello.
We knew coming in today that quarterback Isiah Marshall had the talent. He's always had it, but he's had to evolve as a vocal leader this season, as his dad, uncle, and head coach told us this week.
For him to just kind of come out his shell a little bit was huge for this team this year. You know, having early success, he never wanted to ever be the vocal one, like, hey, look at me, look at me. Everybody loves him in that building. Everybody loves him in the community and on the team. And it's because of his, you know, selflessness. So coaching him has been such a privilege. I've learned more from him than he's learned from me. That's what he doesn't understand. Again, you know, we had our ups and downs through the years. He started as a freshman here on varsity. Having that experience is priceless. Playing in the OAA, which I think is the toughest league in the state. Him having that experience, now fast forward into junior year, when I say the game has slowed down for him, it's really slowed down. We've done things in games where I've looked at Coach Pop, my OC, and said, we didn't coach that. I know for a fact you did not coach that adjustment that he just made on the field, and he says, I did not. And so that's how you know the game has slowed down for him, and he's figured it out.
Yeah, you heard Coach right there mention offensive coordinator Richie Pop, who's been working with Isiah since Isiah was 10 years old. He's been the one who's really helped him open up as a vocal leader and really understand his role as a quarterback. Coach Pop told me he's the most humble superstar you'll ever meet, and he said that with a big smile on his face, but he tells me it's because of Isiah's growth that you're really seeing the team's success this year.
Natalie, thanks. And that's such a great point that's made there, Justin, because we have seen that growth for Isiah Marshall in front of our own eyeballs tonight. The runs he has made, the scrambles he has made for first downs, wasn't making those plays last year.
Yeah, I've known the young man since he was 6 years old, so it's awesome to watch him succeed on the football field, but he is tremendously humble, and his IQ is so high. You'll see watching film over him over the last 4 to 5 weeks. He calls audibles, hot routes, he communicates with his team, gets everybody on the same page. Really a general out there as a quarterback.
Got a 2nd down and 2 here. Give, running left. Juwan Jarrett. Yes. Touchdown. This right here is good, old-fashioned, pure, unadulterated speed.
Yeah, and I really think that everybody in the stadium thought Isiah Marshall was going to keep that football, and instead he gave that, and he just too much speed. I mean, he went to the big Notre Dame commit side, and he just could not get up there. We talked about this young man's speed, how fast he is, how well he does, Juwan Jarrett, and he's really making an explosion for Southfield A&T. That's a big block there on extra points. Special teams, 1/3 of a game. You get those big uglies up front, getting those hands up, you can definitely get some.
I called Juwan Jarrett smoke, Justin, because good luck catching this guy.
Yeah, he's just really fast. This is pure speed, puts his foot in, gives a little juke at the end, and gets a huge touchdown. But every point counts right now, especially the way that West Bloomfield is running the football and has the game clock control. And we have to make sure that you do the little things, the details, in every phase of the game to win a big football game like this. And that could come back to bite Southfield A&T.
All right, Justin. So we'll zoom out here in just a second. Before we get there.
Yeah, he hit it. Yeah. Yeah, he kicked it in his own man, didn't even get off the ground. So now next play, you have to think about going for 2, especially if the kick's coming off the foot that bad right now.
So Juwan Jarrett's touchdown has brought Aaron Marshall's club back in the ball game. They will get the ball to start the second half, and they have all 3 timeouts left if they want to use them to save some time here. Diop sends it away. Chance for a return. This is Bryce Rowe. He busted one earlier. Oh my goodness, look at him go. Blaze just took it to the house. You know, if you didn't believe me when I said he runs a 4.540, why don't you watch this replay? Prove it to you.
Yeah, that might have been a 4.4. And I just don't understand. You know, special teams is a huge part of these big games. I don't understand why you don't squib it. You got 3 minutes. Don't put it in the playmaker's hands, and that's exactly what they did and end up hurting them and biting them pretty bad here. Now Southfield A&T has to have the pressure again to put points on the board without making a mistake here with 3:11 left in the half.
That's the 2nd kick return touchdown of the year for West Bloomfield. Semaj Morgan had one earlier this year. Now Bryce Rowe has got one to his name. Crowdhammer back on. Hasn't missed a PAT yet tonight. Still hasn't missed one. 3rd phase of the ball game, Justin. Important in big games like this. Bryce Rowe just made a big-time play for the Lakers.
Yeah, really good vision here. So he's waiting, he's being patient, and then he just turns on the wheels as you get a good block up there from 91, the defensive end, Gabriel. And it really didn't take much. It's those kickoff returns that happen across the field, you see everybody pursuing to one side to the corner, and when you get the cutback like that, usually it's out like the lights, the band's playing, strike it, and a big, huge touchdown here by number 24, taking it all the way to the house. Bryce Rowe, boy's got wheels. Can't teach that speed.
One look back and he realized no one was catching him. And start the celebration.
In a heavyweight fight right now, that was a big haymaker. Southfield A&T has to respond, and if I'm the offensive coordinator, Richie Pop, I'm putting that on Isiah Marshall's back to make sure that we get some points on the board before the second half.
82 yards to the barn for Bryce Rowe. And right after Southfield A&T gets some juice with a touchdown, West Bloomfield kind of sucks it out of them.
7 returns for 220 yards, 31-yard average. You do not kick him the ball the rest of the game.
And if they do, Justin's running down there and having a few choice words. Well, Southfield A&T gets a chance for a return. It's Juwan Jarrett. And the kicker, Krauthammer, made the tackle with a flag behind the play. Someone clip that up and get it to McAfee. Let's check this flag here. Would be a pretty good return for Juwan Jarrett.
During our return, we have a personal foul, face mask, number 7 on the return team. That's going to be enforced half the distance from the spot, first down blue.
So it's back-to-back plays where special teams miscues have frustrated the heck out of Aaron Marshall. Coming up at the half, Mickey York and Lauren Plant will preview all the games we're going to cover tonight on our Football Fridays Overtime show. We have 4 ranked games across the state, and that doesn't even include Detroit King against Cass Tech. Plus, special feature, Devin Gardner sits down with a bunch of guys on the Southfield A&T team, and they're going to tell you why they think they've turned the corner as a program, and they think they're primed for a pretty big run in the postseason coming up in a couple of weeks. All right, Justin, here we go. 3 minutes to go, first half. Southfield A&T, yeah, they're down by 2 scores, but 3 timeouts, and they get the ball to start the second half.
Yeah, and you have to fight the urge to be conservative because you have all these playmakers, but you don't want to make a big mistake.
Marshall throwing, and it's incomplete. Pippin is winning the battle against Braceville time after time.
He's just doing a tremendous job keeping his eyes on the hips, making sure that he's squeezing them to the sideline. He's making it a little easier with Tashi to the boundary every time, but don't take anything away from Pippin. He is just doing a great job in this first half. Has really been the unsung hero for stopping any big plays between that connection, between Marshall and Braceville.
Right back to Jarrett. They just scored a touchdown on this play. They've brought a big gain on this play. We're going to get a horse collar as well at the end of the play.
And don't be afraid to go back to what's working. If it's working, keep going. Keep feeding the horse, feeding the horse. And I like this. This keeps the clock going, with the idea that we're running the football. Obviously gets tackled out of bounds, so it does stop. But you do not want to not get that and give the ball back to West Bloomfield and give them a chance to put another score on the scoreboard.
You just made the point, Justin, about if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's Richie Pop, the offensive coordinator for Southfield A&T. That's his philosophy. If a play works, I'm going to keep running it until they can stop that play.
Right, yeah, and then sometimes as coaches you want to overcoach or outcoach yourself, but you stay to the simplicity of what's working and keep feeding it until it doesn't.
We'll shift Javid Jones to Marshall's right in the gun. Keep it with Isiah Marshall. Look at all this room! Is that a quarterback or a running back? What pure speed from Zeke Marshall. Hard to not smile when you get to watch this guy play ball every single weekend. Isiah Marshall's a treat.
Yeah, and Xavier Davis does a really good job of pulling and kicking out the end. The end, it gets a little upfield, but it's the little things Isiah Marshall doing you know, with the fakes and doing the little things that's getting him to open up some holes.
A 56-yard run to the house. Isiah's 13th running touchdown of the year. And now, Justin, they are electing to go for 2 after they missed the extra point on the last scoring drive.
Yeah, and you have a 2-point play that you go to. You practice and practice consistently. You rep it. See what they do here.
Isiah Marshall running to the corner. That's a pretty darn good strategy.
We talked about putting it on your back. Whose back do you put it on? You put it on Zeke Marshall. This is one of the best players, I don't think, even just in the state of Michigan, but in the country. And here you go. We're a right tackle here. You're going to see him go ahead and pull right here. Excuse me, as the right guard kicking out the end and just opens up. A Mack truck could have ran through that. When you give that to Zeke, he's going to be gone. Strike the band. It's a big touchdown before the half, really giving a lot of energy and confidence back to Southfield A&T.
And then, Justin, the 2-point try, which could prove to be pivotal late in the game. Marshall just making it happen again.
Again, and West Bloomfield doesn't do a terrible job of keeping him in the pocket, but he steps up and he has great vision. You know, we talk about all the athletic skills, but the vision of a running quarterback or a great running back is very important. He sees it opens up, he gets to the edge, and he gets 2 points and really puts us away from one score where you think West Bloomfield's really had a handle on this game. Some really big plays, control the ball on the ground, and Southfield A&T is swinging back. This is a heavyweight fight, and they just threw a haymaker back to West Bloomfield before half.
You can see Isiah Marshall's stats in that bottom right corner of the screen. The passing hasn't quite been there because West Bloomfield's secondary is playing their hearts out in the first half. So what do? What's the growth we keep talking about? He's killing them on the ground.
Yeah, and I think Juwan Jarrett having some success on that outside jet sweep has really opened up some things for Isiah to see inside, and that's paying off right now.
Another kick for TJ Diop. Another chance for a West Bloomfield return. That one is not going to the end zone. That one is tackled at the 30. So if you're just flipping on this game and you see West Bloomfield's leading Southfield A&T 21-14, you're going, oh, well, Rick Nance is having a big night, right? No. Junior starting quarterback for West Bloomfield, who has all those numbers and all those highlights. He didn't play last week. He's not playing this week because of an injury on his left hand. Now, the West Bloomfield coaching staff told us we expect him back. We do expect to see him starting once we continue our playoff run in a couple of weeks. But the fact of the matter is, Justin, they've done a remarkable job tonight. They haven't thrown a pass, and they've scored 21 points.
Yeah, and they're also building their toolbox for the playoffs. You know, now you have a lot more as a team that's playing them to prepare for, and it becomes a real difficult task with all these athletes.
Well, they tried to throw it there. The pass was incomplete. That was Semaj Morgan who tried to throw it. He had attempted 12 passes this season before tonight.
Yeah, and I don't mind the play call. Loosen them up. You're still putting the foot on the gas pedal. You're not playing conservative. You're playing to win this football game. And so they try to get a quick one out that just didn't work out.
Keep in mind as well those 3 timeouts for Southfield A&T. I wonder how West Bloomfield attacks this here.
I think you have to go back to running the football and get this clock rolling.
We'll try it here with Morgan. Trying to wiggle his way by Southfield A&T. And that D-line was having none of it. Southfield A&T will elect to burn their first time out here.
Yeah, really good job there by Reggie Gardner, Xavier Davis, that interior line for Southfield A&T. They're really keeping their discipline because when you have those guys that are shifty and can make you miss in space, it's really hard, especially for a big guy up front. And they're doing a really good job of getting their hands on, strong hands, big hands, getting these guys down to the ground. And now they are set up for a really good scenario here. 3rd and long. We talked about Sante Sauce earlier in the game. You want to make West Bloomfield push the ball vertical. You know they're going to probably have to pass, or if I'm West Bloomfield, I might run a quarterback draw with Semaj and see what I can get. But I definitely do not want to stop the clock, and I don't want to turn the football over if I'm West Bloomfield's offense.
Tyrese Grice has really done a great job in this first half of navigating the injury issues on his roster. No starting quarterback, no starting middle linebacker. But now it gets a little hairy, passing scenario without your starting quarterback.
And Southfield is still in that cover 3, so watch them look in the seams here for West Bloomfield.
Morgan down the seam. Pippin the catch and a first down. They attack the soft spot.
Yeah, when you're sitting in the cover 3, what you have here as your soft spot is really the seams right up the hashes here, and they run a skinny post with Deontay Pippin, and just does a really good job, Semaj, of throwing that ball right on a dime.
He'll try again and complete it again. They barely attempted a pass all night, and now Morgan's slinging it.
Yeah, and Semaj is getting loose right now. He's starting to get comfortable back in there, and that's going to be dynamic in the second half and how that dictates the offense, because if Southfield A&T has to worry about both, they might have to get out of that cover 3, meaning both pass and run.
Second down short. Back to the ground, and Jones. Didn't need much, didn't gain much, but it is a first down for West Bloomfield. About 90 seconds to go in the first half.
Really have all the time in the world. Got one timeout. You don't have to rush it necessarily. If you had to get a quick clock stoppage, you throw it out of bounds or a quick kill the clock. But West Bloomfield's exactly where they want to be right now. They're moving the ball with chunks of play, and they kind of got Southfield A&T guessing now with a couple successful pass plays.
Morgan, long throw, incomplete. It's the first incompletion for Semaj Morgan in the last couple of plays. Keep in mind as well, one timeout remaining for West Bloomfield. The longest field goal they've made all season, 35 yards. Right now they're about at the 38-yard line. And I got to get at least 20 more yards to even think about a field goal.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't mind some type of trick play here. You know, a flea flicker, some type of stop pass, because, again, you've loosened up Southfield A&T's defense a little bit with a couple successful pass plays.
Now Brody Picour, the quarterback alone. Here you go. Justin was thinking about it. Down the field, caught. It's DeAndre Hill. It's like you used to coach.
Well, they made me look like I know what I'm talking about here, but it is a great play. You start getting throwing counter punches, run pass, have a couple successful. Everybody's going to drive up on Semaj because of how athletic he is in space, and they get a big chunk play here with the trick play.
Running left. Morgan that time barely gaining anything, and now you wonder, Justin, how both teams attack the clock. We do get a whistle and a timeout. West Bloomfield calls their last timeout with just under 40 seconds to go in the half. The Hometown Showdown is a chance for your high school to be crowned the best Football Fridays fan base. Vote now in the weekly poll that's on our Bally Sports Detroit Twitter page. The winning school will get bragging rights and a whole lot more. Poll closes Monday for West Bloomfield and Southfield A&T. So keep on voting. Bally Sports Detroit Football Fridays, presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. How can I get one of those neon signs?
I want one.
The school at the end of the year will be getting that sign.
Well, I don't have any place to put it because I have a bunch of Barbie dolls in my basement with my 2 little girls. But one day I might have a man cave back. I'm looking at West Bloomfield and their scenario right now. You cannot get sacked. You cannot get tackled in bounds. So I would run, what I like is maybe even run a jet sweep to the boundary or try to get something that you can get some yardage and get out of bounds so you set yourself up for a field goal.
Morgan dropping back. Semaj wants to throw. Incomplete. What do you think of that play call?
Well, I don't mind it. You're loosening up the defense, making them think a little bit if you want to go back to the run and then get out of bounds. I'm impressed with Semaj. He's got a strong arm. He just doesn't have the experience to stay in the pocket and check his reads, meaning if number one option is not open, you go to 2, you go to 3. He actually had 3 wide open in the back of the end zone, so they may go back to that. But again, you're stopping the clock and giving you a chance to score with 30 seconds left.
Yeah, this is what's tricky here. You are at the fringe of your field goal range, but you don't have a timeout left. Morgan wants to throw again. Run into the end zone again. It's incomplete. DeAndre Hill, the intended target, gave him a shot. But Demario Quarles had the coverage.
And that's a matchup they wanted. You had a bigger wide receiver on a smaller defensive back. Just couldn't quite get the ball there. Couldn't finish the route. Here you see him just kiss his finger on that. Mistimes that with the receiver not being able, but got away with a little grab there to make sure that big receiver doesn't get up and grab the football. DeAndre Hill is a big body there. Anticipate them going back to him in the second half.
They go back to him here, Justin. 4th down 10, and at least from the looks of it, West Bloomfield wants to go for it. They're running bodies off the field like a hockey line change. Morgan given time. Rolling to the right. Now he pumps and he throws. There's that guy. Throw it up to DeAndre Hill and let him go get it. Sometimes, Justin, your athletes just have to make a play. West Bloomfield's athletes just made a play.
One of the hardest things to do when you have a quarterback that's athletic and can scramble is the defensive backs then have to continue to stay man-to-man defense in the red zone, and it's just a lot of time for a man to stay on another man for 10 seconds. And you see they went right back to the well there with the big receiver, DeAndre Hill, big touchdown before half.
Southfield A&T says to anyone who will listen, we are changing the culture. There's no doubt about that with this start this year, but West Bloomfield's culture with no starting quarterback, it's showing up tonight on plays like this.
Yeah, did a really good job of just keeping his eyes downfield. You knew who he was looking for because he had him the prior play and got away, and right now he just puts it on the line. That's a great throw by Semaj. Shows what kind of athlete he is, and he's going to University of Michigan. They're going to be glad to have him.
Man, you talk about a competitor. He was fired up before that 4th down. He was fired up after the touchdown.
I mean, the way this game has been going, you felt Southfield A&T climbing back into it, and then West Bloomfield again says, okay, we'll get out of our run game and let us show what we can do in the pass game. It ends up working, ends up completing 4 or 5 passes on this drive. Again, when you're scrambling, you're forcing those defensive backs to keep their eyes on their man and cover longer than a typical 4-second play. Now it's 8 seconds, it's 9 seconds, and you're throwing to this big receiver you just had open the previous play. Huge touchdown, Semaj Morgan to DeAndre Hill.
Did you catch that little wave after the touchdown?
Yeah.
I don't know if he was paying respects to the Queen or just trying to make sure everyone knows that he's still around, you know what I mean?
There's some swagger on this field, and they're going to let each other know about it when they beat them. If you're West Bloomfield, do not kick to the deep guys. You've seen it on both sides of the team. I'm not sure why. I respect both of the deep kick returners on both sides, and you don't want a big play here to climb back into this game.
We'll get a chance for a return. And Southfield A&T on that return gets it up to the 35. So at least a couple of cracks here. That was Jaden Bush on the return.
Jaden Bush came over from Canada, has done a great job of working himself in the starting lineup with one of the elite programs in the state here at Southfield A&T. Now, I was the up back at Grand Valley because I had Brent Lesniak that ran a 4.3 and Terrence Banks that ran a 4.3, so I got a lot of kick returns. Everybody, I didn't know you were a kick returner. I'm not. They're just too scared to kick to the guys behind me.
In case you're scoring at home, that's 2 mentions of Justin's alma mater and mine 1. How will I find a way to sneak in Syracuse? Tune in the rest of the show.
Orangeman.
That's just the orange now.
Okay,
no longer the other one. Apparently that's bad now. Well, Southfield A&T looks like they're going to take this one to the locker room as Isiah Marshall takes a knee. They will get the ball to start the second half, so that kind of lends you into their decision-making here. Southfield A&T, after they scored touchdowns, received big-time punches back from West Bloomfield. Bryce Rowe had an 82-yard kick return touchdown, and then Semaj Morgan just made it happen on the last drive for West Bloomfield. Number 2 in white and green, the wide receiver, bound for Michigan, playing quarterback and spot duty tonight, just went 5 for 7 on a drive with 57 yards and a touchdown.
And if you're watching West Bloomfield right now at home, or you watch them on tape and you got to play them here in the playoffs, you're starting to get a little nervous because you feel like Kari Jackson's out, your Lance is out. You know, these guys should be very beatable, and they are still a very high-powered team and a high-powered offense.
Tyrese Grice has a West Bloomfield program and a West Bloomfield team which strikes fear into a lot of high school hearts across the state of Michigan. Coach Grice standing by with Natalie.
Yeah, Coach Grice, let's talk about that last possession. What went into that decision to go for it on 4th down?
Well, we wanted to kick the field goal. There was a debate on the sidelines, and the kids wanted to go for it, so we went in and went for it, and luckily we did.
So you listened to your kids on that play? What were they telling you?
Say, Coach, let's go for it. Let's go for it. We didn't have no timeouts. The clock was running out, and I was really upset because I thought we was going to kick the field goal, but we decided to go ahead and go for it.
Well, your kids might have been right in this decision then, huh?
I take it. So you got to let these guys play, and then we'll see what the outcome going to be.
In a game, you know, we're going up against Southfield A&T. Their offense is spectacular, but your defense has been able to keep them in check. How?
You know, we played a lot of man press coverage. They're used to playing against teams that run a lot of zones, so they're not used to guys in their face. So we took away some of their big plays, just playing press man, and they put some pressure on the quarterback. As you can see, the quarterback had a few long runs, and we were just out of alignment, and we made some mental mistakes. So we're going to correct those in the second half.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, appreciate it.
Evan?
All right, Natalie, thank you. That's one confident head coach. Tyrese Grice thinks he's found the winning solution against Southfield A&T tonight. Big plays all over the place. That's what we expected. Halftime here at Southfield A&T. Coming up after the break, we get you ready for a piece about Southfield A&T's growth. Mickey and Lauren standing by as well. Halftime coming up.
It was just 7-0 after the first quarter, 28-14 now at the half in Southfield. A Semaj Morgan last-second touchdown pass to DeAndre Hill, providing the 2-touchdown advantage for West Bloomfield. Welcome back into our overtime studios. You know, after finding more than their fair share of ways to lose the last few years, the Southfield A&T Warriors are now finding ways to win, and win big. Led by a standout junior class, this year's team has its eyes on the playoffs and a possible trip to Ford Field. Devin Gardner has his eyes on a Warriors team that feels like it still has a lot to prove here in 2022.
Tashi Bracewell, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Good to see you again.
You my cousin or my brother? You my brother?
I'm your brother.
You my brother, you my little brother. It's good to see you, man.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, I'm watching you this year, and it looked like you've grown up even more. What type of attitude did you come into this year with?
Like, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I came into this season ready for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that, like, I'm the best player on the field at all times. We come in every day and we're ready to work. Last year, we were ready to work, but, like, we'll get easily unfocused. And this season, it's just, like, we living up to, like, our motto, whatever it takes. We doing whatever it takes to win.
The kids did a great job this offseason, which we really didn't have last year. I was kind of hired late. So this year, with us having a full offseason, they did a really good job of buying in.
Yeah.
And when we start playing for each other instead of playing for, you know, ourselves, right, it really made a big difference.
You got something special, and the hardest thing in football to prepare for is a dual threat quarterback that can really throw it and can really run it.
Yeah.
And your version of that just happens to be your nephew.
For him to just kind of come out his shell a little bit was huge for this team this year. You know, having early success, he never wanted to ever be the vocal one, like, hey, look at me, look at me. Everybody loves him in that building. Everybody loves him in the community and on the team. And it's because of his, you know, selflessness.
The first few years, it was just, we just couldn't be, like, we just couldn't win. Just couldn't finish. It was...
Couldn't find a way.
I made bad decisions. I threw, like, at least 2 picks a game. Now, this year, I only have 2 picks. Tashi, of course, as y'all know, he's part of my success. Savi, Juan, Nigel, them all, they catch everything I throw to them, and they make me look good a lot. Since I've been in high school, I haven't made it past the second round. So my goal is just to go to the playoffs first, which I think we made for sure. So
maybe.
Yeah, well, go to the playoffs for sure, and I want to take them far. So yeah, it would mean a lot. That's my goal for the season.
You guys are playing very well, and almost your whole team, at least the best players, seem like they're all juniors. What does it feel like to know that, hey, you might be able to get it done this year, but next year it's going to be another monster?
Oh, yeah, it feels good for real, because I think we're going all the way this year. I know we are. It feels amazing to know that, like, we're coming back next year stronger, better.
Yeah.
We go win next year, too, this year. I believe it.
Yeah.
We doing this, we're not doing this for us. We're doing it for, like, the city of Southfield, for everybody who came in, because everybody looks at us as, like, the school that has talent and can't win. So we're going to win it for the city this season.
Yeah, there was a collective chip on that shoulder, but A&T's immediate goal is to find a way back into its game with West Bloomfield. The Lakers winning the battle of the big plays so far. Back for the second half in Southfield in just a few minutes.
Counting down to the second half here at Southfield A&T High School. The hometown Warriors trailing the visiting West Bloomfield Lakers by a couple of scores. Southfield A&T will get the ball to start the second half, and their head coach, Isiah Marshall, just spoke with Natalie Kerwin.
Yeah, standing alongside Coach Marshall, Aaron, everyone is thinking about your junior running back, Royce Liggins. What did you say to him at the time, and what have you heard since, going into the second half?
Yeah, we told him to just, we're praying for him, we're here for him. Had a bad leg injury, so he'll be back, bigger and stronger whenever he gets healed up.
Have you heard any updates so far?
Not yet, no.
Well, when it comes to the game, you started to find some success late there in the second quarter with those 2 touchdowns in under 4 minutes. How do you keep that going on every possession now going into this second half?
Just keep the energy going. We made some great plays on offense, also shot ourselves in the foot on a couple plays. We made some halftime adjustments, so we'll see how the second half turns out.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate the update from Coach Marshall, and obviously we're thinking about Royce Liggins and sending all of the good thoughts his way. Justin, as we look at the stats from the first half, scoreline is what it is, but what do those stats tell you about how this ball game is turning out?
Well, first and foremost, exactly what West Bloomfield wanted to do was control the clock, 14 minutes of possession. That was huge for them. I think also the 67 pass yards doesn't look overly impressive, but they are because they all really came on the last drive that scored before the half for West Bloomfield. And they came from Semaj Morgan really doing a really good job at quarterback and throwing for a touchdown pass to DeAndre Hill.
Yeah, that second half late touchdown from Morgan to Hill. About as big of a backbreaker as you can get at the end of a first half in a football game. Good news for Southfield A&T. They're about to get the ball to start the second half, and they'll have a chance to return it. Coming up the middle of the field, that's Javin Jones, and Southfield A&T will start just across the 35-yard line. We promised you offensive fireworks in this football game. Took us a little bit of time, Justin, but then the offensive machine got cranked up for both sides.
Yeah, a lot of running touchdowns. Obviously, 2 really good passing, efficient offenses with West Bloomfield obviously missing their quarterback. They went more to the run game in the first half, and Isiah Marshall has been that dual threat that everybody's been looking for him to do. Put his team on the back late in the second quarter and really made some big plays to keep them in this ball game. And then the great kick return by Rowe, explosive athlete. And now back to Marshall with another explosive play back-to-back. And had some fireworks here. You see if Southfield A&T can counterpunch here in the start of the second.
Tricky little play to Jawan Jarrett. Juking his way past a couple of guys. Looked a couple of times like that play was going to be stopped after a yard or two, and instead it gains up about 5 or 6.
And there's not many teams offensively that are going to try to attack West Bloomfield on the edge. You really run at speed, but because West Bloomfield is so big up front and very strong linebackers, you see Southfield A&T doing that, and they do have the athletes to find some success. Expect them to go back to that play calling.
Matthias Davis, the back with Marshall on second down. Play fake to him. Over the middle. Incomplete. Open for Bowman.
And what this allows the defense to do when you are throwing to the boundary as much as Southfield A&T has been doing, is allows the linebackers to get into really short windows, meaning the window from the quarterback to the receiver. It disrupts passes, and it allows the wide receivers to really, or excuse me, the defensive backs to really squeeze down on the wide receivers. And West Bloomfield has been doing that consistently all night. Get a trips open here. Watch them to try to go back to the wide side of the field. You see they're moving Tashi around a little, try to get a different matchup.
Marshall running. Isiah Marshall. Inside the 30 he goes.
Man.
And now Isiah down.
He's okay. The way this game has been going, you're just holding your breath when anybody goes down, but a really good job. The defensive end does hold his edge there, so Isiah keeps it off of that RPO, and he really takes off. And this is, again, vision. This is why, he's the son of a former All-American running back at Brother Rice, Northwestern running back Brian Marshall, but really does a really good job of getting upfield. Another big chunk of play, and he is putting this team on his back.
Isiah ran for a long touchdown in the first half. He's yet to throw for one tonight. They're taking him off the field here. As he fell to the turf, looked like he may have gotten some turf pellets in his eye. So now they bring Zavi Bowman to the quarterback spot with Jones on his left. They'll just run straight left with Bowman and Davis Swain right to him.
David Swain is so big and athletic. You know, you're not outrunning him. Usually he did bite inside a little bit and still made a really good play on a fast substitute quarterback there. And that's what makes him so impressive and why Notre Dame has offered him as a junior.
All right, so here comes Zeke Marshall back onto the field. Whenever someone reaches for the eye, you're thinking turf, you're thinking contacts. There are a few feelings worse in life than when a contact falls out and gets stuck on your eyelid. Take it from me. Marshall back on the field, throwing to Jawan Jarrett. Good luck getting him down to the open field. Jawan Jarrett is one shifty wide receiver.
Really like this play call from Southfield A&T, right? You're going to run the motion, see if they're in man or zone. You see they're in man, but basically what they do is drop the nickel back to the safety, and the safety runs up to take him, and he has a long way to take the wide receiver. He has to get down, and by the time he gets down, he has to break his feet, but the momentum won't let him. Gets a big catch, big throw and catch there, the big chunk play for Southfield A&T, and they're knocking on the doorstep.
We thought this was going to be a bit of a heavyweight fight. Couple of sluggers coming to the middle of the ring, punch for punch in this ball game. Marshall running left, not going to get there. Great pursuit from the backside by Jonathan Gabriel.
Yeah, and Jonathan Gabriel, he has a tough task every week because you know they're going to try to run away from Swain. So they're going to run at him. They're going to try to pick on him. And he's done a really good job of being disciplined. He's got beat a couple times because he's got a lot coming at him. It's a tough task when you are really dealing with that many reps in a game that the ball carriers are coming, but makes a really good play on Isiah Marshall.
Second down, goal. Marshall, quick drop. The pump and the roll. Incomplete. Jared was in the area.
Yeah, and that shows the maturity and high IQ of Isiah Marshall, right? But you get a really good pressure from West Bloomfield, and they've been doing this really well all year. You see the blitz coming in here late, a little bit of cat blitz off the edge, sees if he wants to stay. That's a safety coming, Semaj Morgan, and puts enough pressure on him to make him throw the ball away. And you'll see West Bloomfield sticks with that. They are so confident in the back end with their defensive back play, as you see what Pippen has done tonight. And they will bring the house on the quarterback and make him very uncomfortable. And I see them to start dialing that up even more as this game goes.
Third down goal for Southfield A&T. Ball at West Bloomfield's 9. Marshall over the middle, through Braceful's hands.
Yeah, ball looks like it's a little bit tipped before it gets out to the slant route there on the goal line. As a defensive back, you do not want to give the inside up, so gets a, unclear, just dropped it, got to him. I think Tashi Braceful's a little shook this game because Pippen has done such a good job. He's smothering them, and those are now 3 catches that Tashi usually is going to catch in any scenario, and just drops it.
He is still in single coverage with Pippen on the near side of the field. Fourth down goal. Looking back that way, it's tipped and picked, and Semaj Morgan is going to have a house call. Semaj Morgan, on a night where the starting quarterback is out, has put West Bloomfield on his back.
Big fellow in the middle, Herring, the All-American, tips the ball up. Semaj Morgan is down behind the backfield because he was blitzing and finds the ball. Athletes always making plays, and this is really a backbreaker for Southfield A&T. They're knocking on the door, going to be 1 score away, and Semaj Morgan grabs it, and you better believe he's off to the races with that kind of speed. And another big touchdown for West Bloomfield, just showing great tenacity as they continue to throw punches at Southfield A&T.
Now, I did catch a little bit of the Tyreek Hill peace sign. Amir Herring, known for all the skill and all the talent on the left side of the offensive line, just made the biggest play of the game on defense.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you started to see some things open up for Southfield A&T. They were motioning across. They were outflanking the defense because the rotation was coming late from the safety to play man. And then a drop pass on the slant, and you just cannot do that in these games. There's too many athletes on the other side, and they're going to end up hurting you, and that's exactly what happened. Huge defensive turnover and touchdown.
And a couple of players tangled up here as a whistle stopped the potential PAT try.
And look, Evan, there's a lot of, we come from a program you never stop believing, right? There's a lot of time still.
Encroachment, defense. That's going to be half the distance. Repeat the try.
You have a long game still. You can expect West Bloomfield, if they get the ball back, that they may start trying to run the clock a little bit, be a little bit more conservative. You never know with the amount of athletes they have. But Southfield A&T needs to keep their head up, and they need to keep fighting because this is the type of games, even though you're down, is going to build a lot of character for the playoffs.
It's a game about culture. West Bloomfield's been built over the years. Southfield A&T is trying to get there. Tonight, West Bloomfield's culture, without their starting quarterback, is ruling the day. Somewhere, Jim Harbaugh smiles. One future Wolverine, Amir Herring with the tip. Another, Semaj Morgan with the house call. It is all West Bloomfield. Football Fridays on Bally Sports Detroit, brought to you by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Family, it's not just the name of our company, but the way that we do business. Southfield A&T has been formed within the last decade, and in this area between Lathrop and Southfield High, Justin, that is a lot of guys who went to go play in the National Football League.
Yeah, pretty impressive there. You got guys from all over the NFL that played all over the country in college and then in the NFL. And coming from not a huge city in Southfield, it's pretty impressive. And they try to, in that culture, make pride out of both schools because they've now collaborated to be one, and it's pretty impressive.
You know, Aaron Marshall, the head coach for Southfield A&T, was telling us all week, we used to talk here in Southfield, you know, how great would it be if we just had one high school instead of two? Well, now they do have one high school, and they're still kind of in the infancy stages of the school, but a 6-1 start this season and all the talent they've had all year, this is kind of the dream coming true for a lot of old Southfield Blue Jays.
Yeah, and it starts in Little League around here. You know, Southfield Falcons, Blue Jays, they have some really good football programs, and definitely is a feeder program for Southfield A&T.
There's one of those athletes, Javin Jones, on the return. Fact of the matter is, Justin, there's pretty much the entire second half to go. But the fact of the matter also is, Southfield A&T on a 4th down and goal just threw a pick 6. How in the world do you come back from that?
Yeah, this game has been an emotional roller coaster from the injury to really big swinging plays, the kick return, and then the tip pass for interception return for touchdown. I think you just have to try not to chew on everything at once. You try to consistently chip away at this, and you know, you do though have to start pushing the ball down the field, and you do have to start giving them different looks, meaning you can't just continue to do what you do because you have to find a big play in here so you can get some momentum back, and eventually this clock is going to start running out and you're going to be behind the 8 ball.
The phrase that comes to mind is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Yeah. That's what you got to do here in a comeback.
Yeah, and again, there's a couple things that cannot happen when you're 3 touchdowns down. You can't lose confidence as far as belief in that you can pull back into the game, because if you don't have that, you cannot be a championship football team. You have to score, and you have to have your defense step up on a couple big plays, and that's it. And if you cannot do that, then you cannot have a championship run that I really believe Southfield A&T believes that they are a contender this year, and they have pieces to do it.
Look, if you're watching this game at home, you see the score, and you think maybe I should go flip over to Netflix, don't. Because this Southfield A&T team is never out of a football game. They played a game earlier this year against Cass Tech where Isiah Marshall fumbled, he says intentionally, to allow Cass Tech to score a touchdown and Southfield A&T to get the ball back. They got it back with 30 seconds left. They went down, scored, got the 2. Then we went to overtime. Tashi Braceful went insane. Isiah Marshall scores a 2-point try to win a game that was absolutely ridiculous. Southfield A&T has the offense, Justin, to never be out of a game. But frankly, you're often not playing West Bloomfield trying to come back from 3 scores.
Yeah, but Cass Tech's Cass Tech, and they have the audacity to do that.
Isiah Marshall once again feeling and facing pressure. A poor start to the drive.
Yeah, when you're in this situation as a defense, you can start pinning your ears back a little bit. You're going to start bringing some blitzes. You're going to start bringing more pressure because you know they have to push the ball down vertically. And again, just a miscue, these small details. If you're going to win a game like this, you can just not have these small mistakes because they're going to start building up and really bite you.
Tyrese Grice, you heard him talk to Natalie at halftime. A confident head coach, and that has proven bare so far in the second half. Run an option, all right. Getting it into Javin Jones' hands, and Harris does a great job getting to the football for West Bloomfield.
Yeah, and I think one or two plays really worked to the boundary, but West Bloomfield, again, they're starting to pin their ears back. They're up 3 touchdowns. You start doing a little bit more, open up your defensive playbook, and simply they just have too much speed to run to the boundary. You're going to get them ran down like he just did. Pippen is still just doing a great job of helping hold that edge as a corner. He's done a fantastic job covering man-to-man tonight. He's going to get a lot of attention from this game when it's over from college recruiters. I'm sure he already has.
Money to dial up 3rd down 15. Let's find out. It's a play action. Marshall evading, throwing. Braceful's first catch of the night. It's going to give Southfield A&T a 1st down.
I mean, look right here. You're starting to get a little bit of pressure. You're rolling out and then throw against your body to the post cross. Good seeing Tashi getting a catch here. Not an easy catch. Runs a really good route and start crossing them across the middle. And that's what I would start doing more of. Start getting more cross routes, some pick routes. Start getting some things attacking the middle of the field because you've been going outside and attacking the boundary and the wide side so much during the game. Really impressive throw by Isiah Marshall, though.
Like a shortstop ranging to his left and throwing across his body to get the out at first. Isiah, more conventional drop this time. Incomplete. Braceful, Pippen, that matchup again on the outside.
Yeah, Braceful's so good. He's going to get his eventually, and it's great seeing the competition that's going out between the two. But they need to get somebody else the football if they can't get it to him because they need to score. They don't want to continue to get put into 3rd and 4th down situations where this game could be over again if West Bloomfield scores.
They keep trying them, and Deontay Pippen has done an excellent job holding down Braceful. That matchup continues. Right side of your screen. Braceful, Pippen.
Starting to get Braceful to the wide side so he gets some room to run his routes.
Marshall. No. Gabriel again.
Yeah, you have 91 right here. Okay, and you're going to see him just do a really good job of being patient, reading the play, and actually the play is going away from him and it runs down from the backside. And again, he's not the guy you're talking about, the 5-star, the 4-star, but he's been doing a tremendous job of just staying disciplined and do your job. And that's what he did and made a big play there.
Marshall over the middle, and it's incomplete. Jarrett the intended target. Not going to happen that time. Jameer Benjamin, the coverage.
I just continue to be impressed by the defensive backs of West Bloomfield. I mean, they have so much confidence. They drive on the football as soon as it's released. They have great eye discipline and man-to-man coverage. They get out of their breaks extremely fast and just doing a really good job of frustrating the Southfield A&T passing game.
Well, Justin, you were talking about this in the open to the broadcast. With it being West Bloomfield not having their starting quarterback, this is one of those games guys have to step up. Oh, by the way, Kari Jackson, their best linebacker, is out. That secondary has stepped up. Got to step up again here. 4th down long. Marshall, awkward throw, incomplete, flag.
I would have liked to see that corner route happen where you really sell the post and then wiggle flag it back out to the corner. But what they did was run a comeback, and he broke it off and got a lot of hands. Pippen is doing a fantastic job on they got too much
pass
hands.
Interference on the defense, number 7. That's going to be 15 yards from the previous spot, will result in a 1st down.
And look, the way this young man's been playing, you would let him get away with a couple of these because he's being aggressive. But again, he breaks off the route to come back, just gets there a little late, gets his eyes lost, and puts hands on a little too soon. Maybe a little petty, but they call it with the grab at the chest. A big play there for Southfield A&T, keeping the drive alive.
Bailed out on a 4th down 13. Remember, the only automatic 1st downs in high school football is any penalty that starts with roughing. Marshall. evading pressure, slipping a few tackles. Good gain on first down, but we got laundry.
Yeah.
Let's check the flag first here.
Personal foul, face mask, number 6 on the defense. The 15-yard penalty will be half the distance to the goal. Will end up in a first down.
This has to frustrate West Bloomfield's defensive coordinator over there. I mean, which is Grice, the head coach. Really, you know, you're bailing them out a couple times on a big pass interference and now a face mask, giving them some really important yardage and allowing them to move the ball down the field and knock on the doorstep.
Couple of penalties in a row have allowed Southfield A&T to get the ball just inside West Bloomfield's 15.
Look, we're watching that previous play up in the box. You go right back to it. That motion, Jarrett was wide open when he motioned across. He hit a corner route. Isiah missed him, but they really need to go back to that if they saw it.
Isiah Marshall has been more of a runner than a thrower tonight. Another flag.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 6 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
So that false start was on Juwan Jarrett. Richie Pop and Aaron Marshall trying to brew up a comeback potion here. Southfield A&T has never led in this game. This is the biggest deficit. They trailed 28-14 at the break. Marshall throwing, graceful, catching for nothing. Big stick on the outside by Bryce Rowe.
So right here, you got a way man off from the defensive back. You see that Isiah Marshall recognizes that, is over number 2, and he throws it out. But number 1 here, the wide receiver for Southfield A&T, has to get that block, and that might be going for a touchdown.
Instead, it's second down, 14. Give Davis a rare run. Good decision. Matthias Davis makes it a third down, shorter.
Yeah, they've kind of abandoned the run because of how stout those linebackers have been in the middle. Montel Johnson for West Bloomfield, Bryce Rowe, Robert Harris. But they now are starting to get a little bit of a dynamic offensive play call. They're moving some things outside, inside, stop passes, running Isiah. So starting to open up that inside a little bit, but they're wasting valuable time right now. They are down 3 touchdowns. They need to put it in the end zone and get the ball back.
Especially with the way West Bloomfield has run the ball so far tonight. High snap. Marshall finds it and slides. Yeah, Isiah Marshall's a really smart quarterback, Justin, but sometimes, especially with you being down 3 scores, you kind of got to throw caution to the wind and not slide down here.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, no doubt about it. You need to throw that ball away, but also don't want to make a mistake and turn it over and really put the dagger into the game. So now you're in a tough 4th and 4 and 4. And you have to dial up something that works for you a whole lot. I mean, that's just a really rare high snap. Not sure what happened there, but it's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's Christian Green, number 54 in blue, starting center for Southfield A&T. He had missed the last 2 games with a shoulder injury.
Right now, I think you have you have a safety over top there on the wide side. You really try to attack him inside and get back out to the wiggle flag.
Time for Marshall. Down the middle. Jarrett had a step, but he couldn't haul it in. It's a turnover on downs for Southfield A&T, and a play that they'll kick themselves when they watch it on film tomorrow.
Look, you're going to look at Zeke Marshall's completions and probably be a little more harder on him than you should, because there's been a lot of drop passes in this game. That one was thrown a little behind now looking back at it, and with the speed of Jarrett, that's going to be a really hard catch to catch. But at the same time, we've hyped up these athletes, and if it touches your hands, you catch the ball. They are all capable of doing great things and making big plays, and that is really a tough pill to swallow for the OC Richie Pop and the head coach Aaron Marshall.
So West Bloomfield back on the field. Feels like forever since we've seen it.
And there's no reason to get outside the run game right now. You're up 3 touchdowns. Start pounding the rock.
Give Joshua Tate a rare run for the sophomore. He has only 22 on the season entering tonight. You know, there are certain plays, Justin, in a football game that just swing the pendulum. When we look back on this game, one of the plays that will swing the pendulum is Semaj Morgan making a play late in that second quarter, throwing a touchdown to DeAndre Hill. They wanted to kick it. Instead, they were forced to throw it. They tried Hill on the prior play, didn't work. Semaj says, forget about it. We're going for it. We're going for it. He's a wise man.
And look, there's always a balance in that, because as a head coach, you listen to me. What I say goes, but at the same time, you want your leaders to have confidence in your offense, confidence in what you're doing, and as a championship, you want them to lead your guys into battle, and that's what he did, and made a huge play to swing the momentum before the half.
Could be the final play of the third quarter. West Bloomfield thought they had an opportunity to bust one. Kenneth Jones frustrated. He got tripped up.
Southfield A&T's defense really struggled in the beginning of the year, have really came on, giving up 35 tonight, but you need them to create a turnover. If they want to stay in this game whatsoever, you talked about the Cass Tech game, got to create a turnover.
Southfield A&T with their offense is never out of a football game, but they are behind the 8 ball right now. It's a 3-score lead for West Bloomfield and their football when we start the 4th.
Hey, let's go to Dexter as the Mr. Football Kennedy and senior running back Cole Cabana had himself a game. 3 touchdowns, 184 total yards. The Dreadnoughts down Saline 21-14. First conference championship since '63. 59 years, boys. Enjoy.
Lauren, we appreciate the update. You know, Cole Cabana, hoping to see him later on in the year on our Football Fridays. It is outstanding to watch that man play football. Here's some of the other ranked games, Justin, we were looking at. I just heard you go, wow. What game did you go wow over?
Cass Tech King. Wow. Big win for Cass Tech. They've had a claw back after a tough loss with Southfield A&T, getting handled by Detroit King earlier in the year, and that gives them great momentum and put the state on notice. Cass Tech is going to be a threat in the playoffs, and the De La Salle edging out, always finding a way to win. Had some big victories late in the season. Belleville with another blowout there, and Saline losing 2 weeks in a row.
We're going to have highlights of all those games coming up on our OT show once we wrap up here in Southfield. So what was going to be third down about 6 or 7 becomes third down 1 or 2 for West Bloomfield. Music to their ears, Justin, and their want to run the football here in the 4th quarter. It's Jones running on the right side and getting the first down for West Bloomfield.
Those offensive line are really starting to lean on the defensive line of Southfield A&T, and when you're in a situation where you know they're going to run the football and cannot stop them, it becomes very frustrating.
Semaj Morgan, a touchdown pass on 4th down 10 at the end of the first half, and a 92-yard pick 6 here in the second half. The man just does a little bit of everything, doesn't he?
He's making a statement for Mr. Football, and I don't know how many people can argue with it. Well, he does all over the field, from special teams to offense to defense.
Jones again. Southfield A&T expecting to run all the way, and they only gain a couple of runs, a couple of yards on the play. Semaj, one of the guys in the running for Mr. Football, according to state champs. As you look at the watch list, Justin, there's a lot of good names. We got a couple of guys in this ball game who are on that list. Semaj Morgan, Isiah Marshall. Who else stands out to you on that list?
You know, Ethan Clark just broke his school record of Ian Erickson, which was almost 3,000 yards for the career. Mason McKenzie doesn't get a lot of love because he's out in Caledonia, but he is a tremendous football player that has played in some games that he's only played halves and put up numbers that most kids would take 2 games to put up. So I really like those players, and I think Isiah Marshall and Dante Moore still have a long season to go. It could really still open up some eyes as voting comes down to the end during the end of the season.
Jones again, running left, and to daylight. Kenneth Jones, the third. It's a touchdown. Kenneth Jones, the third to the house. Another highlight on one heck of a night for West Bloomfield.
Yeah, let's talk about when you know they're going to run the football and they're trying to just run the clock out and you're trying to make something happen. You start really stacking the box, but these big fellas are just continuously moving people. Jamar Johnson, Alex Walton, Balin Henry, Terrence Daniels, Amir Herring. You got to name them all because they've been dominating up front. And what happens is you start losing your levels for security when you start stacking everybody in the box and trying to make a play. And that's exactly what happened. Another big run there by Kenneth Jones for a touchdown, strike the band, and they're pouring it down Southfield A&T right now.
Ryan Krauthammer, the kicker, has been a busy man tonight, swinging that left leg with precision. Kenneth Jones, 61 yards to the house. Southfield A&T wanted to make a little noise to the state of Michigan tonight, but to quote our friend Lee Corso, West Bloomfield says, not so fast, my friend.
Welcome back into Southfield A&T. West Bloomfield up 42-14. Now you've heard the last name Marshall all night for Southfield A&T. Yes, quarterback Isiah Marshall, but he's not the only Marshall in A&T's football program. There's a family connection here and one that's pretty close-knit. Let's start with Isiah's uncle, head coach Aaron Marshall, who's in his 2nd year at the helm of this program. Then there's Willis Marshall, who's Isiah's other uncle, and he coaches the wide receivers. And finally, Brian Marshall, Isiah's dad, and the running backs coach. All 3 of these brothers played at Brother Rice, then went on to play at different colleges like Northwestern and Youngstown State. Now they're all coaching together and able to coach their son and nephew, too. Pretty special for this family, huh, guys?
Yeah, Natalie, that's absolutely true. It was really cool to see the family dynamic when we came to practice earlier this week. Aaron likes to joke with Brian. Brian's Isiah's dad. I hope you know your biggest role in life right now is you're Isiah's Uber driver. Just get him to practice on time, please, and thank you.
Well, on top of that, Coach Pop coached some of those guys at Brother Rice, so there's a big lineage there. But, that helps you bounce back when you're going through adversities, when you have a family tight-knit that's really family, that's blood. And Southfield A&T will bounce back from this. It's been a long, tough night for them, emotional roller coaster, but hats off to West Bloomfield, to their fronts, first and foremost. Their defense and offensive fronts have done a tremendous job, and then their athletes were everything they've been advertised as.
Here's Juwan Jarrett, ball in his hands. He can make a little magic. Juwan Jarrett slipping tackles. You figured that was going to happen at some point. It's an outstanding return for Southfield A&T. Justin, we've talked about Isiah Marshall all night, and you made the astute point about, hey, the stat line is going to be what it's going to be, but the opportunities were there. Isiah was making throws, trying to make plays happen for Southfield A&T. There's still time to go in this game. Scoreline is what it is, barring the greatest comeback in Southfield A&T's history. They're going to lose this ball game. What do you think, Richie Pop? What do you think that coaching staff's going to take away from how this night's gone?
Yeah, I mean, miscues, mistakes, you know, emotional roller coaster. You lost a very good running back that you needed in this game to create some honesty and integrity, keeping West Bloomfield to stay, hey, we can't just pin our ears back, we can't just blitz, we have to honor everything. So there's been some things, but in football, that's all excuses. And I know that this coaching staff's going to come back and say, hey, we need to learn from this. We need to fix it quickly because the playoffs are here and it's win or go home. And from West Bloomfield's standpoint, this is just a tremendous confidence booster. You're missing arguably two of your four most important players on offense and defense, and Lance and Jackson, and they're going to have a lot of confidence going in and also putting the state on notice.
One of those wins where West Bloomfield just proves the culture. Marshall, throw, incomplete. Here come the flags. Trying to hit Zavi Bowman, and the coverage was just a little too tight.
Yeah, that's a lot of laundry. I don't know if I've seen all four refs in the area throw flags before. Pretty obvious one there. You have to, as a young defensive back, you have to be able to get in phase, and you have to be able to be patient enough to turn around, not face guard, and to continue. What it means to get in phase is to get hit to hip and continue to use that sideline as your 12th man. Keep your eyes disciplined, and when the eyes come back, when the ball is up and the receiver's looking for the ball, that's when you have to turn and look for the ball, and he just never did that.
Yeah, that's kind of the golden rule of coverage, right? If you don't look back, bad news is probably going to happen.
Yeah, and as offense coordinator, you're always looking for those mismatches where you're going to get those easy pass interferences. You got a bigger guy and a smaller guy. He's going to have to climb the ladder, and you're going to get a lot of those PI calls.
Marshall running all the way. Found room on the left side. And Isiah Marshall doing what he's done best tonight, running and gaining a first down for Southfield A&T. The amount of quarterback talent in the state of Michigan is a little silly right now. Dante Moore obviously has gained so many worthy accolades, but Carr, Drogosh, McKenzie, Pico, Johnson, Underwood, and Isiah Marshall. There's a lot of a crowded room at that dinner table right now in terms of who's the best QB in the state.
Yeah, and look, you know, there's been a lot more development. Michigan takes its football very serious. A lot of guys are working in the offseason. Guys are multiple sport athletes, but they're working on their craft, and you see it, and you see sophomores and juniors in there leading the way as well.
Isiah running again, and he's into the end zone again.
Yeah, this is a great cut and a little juke, a little fake that you thought he might option it. He's getting out there to the left. He's thrown that option a couple times. He gives a little pump fake there. Good cut, sticks his foot up and gets to the end zone. And that's what you want to see from your leader. We're not giving up. We're going to continue to fight until there's zeros. We're going to leave it all on the field, and we're going to use that as momentum into the playoffs. Great job by Zeke.
Isiah will stay on and hold for the extra point try for Diop. And it's up, and it's good. Still 9.5 to go. Southfield A&T's offense scores nearly 50 points a game. I'm not lying to you when I say they are never out of a football game. Isiah Marshall's second rushing touchdown of the night, and they've still got a pulse. You know, Semaj Morgan has been making it happen all over the football field for West Bloomfield tonight, but the crazy thing is, we're missing out on Menard's big money moments like this. The guy has to play quarterback in spot duty tonight, so we're missing out, Justin, on one of the best wide receivers the state has.
Yeah, he's a tremendous route runner. He has the elite speed to get open at any time, and after he catches it, he gets that yak, that yards after catch, and just as a touchdown machine. But as you're seeing tonight, he's leading his team in every fashion. He's even punted this season, but his best position is wide receiver. That's what he's going to do at Michigan, and he's going to impact the Big Ten, in my opinion, immediately, either in the slot or in special teams.
You know, he reminds me of Boobie Miles' dad in the Friday Night Lights movie. He can do everything for you. He can fill up the water jug. He can run. He can kick. And he can pass.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He is an impressive young man. He's had a great night. And, you know, he's a it's hard to find a solution if you're a defensive coordinator for him. It really is. You have to get to the quarterback and you have to disrupt and try to keep the ball out of his hands, which is darn near impossible with how many positions he plays.
If anyone ever deserved a post-game ice bath, it's Semaj Morgan. Harris catches the pop-up kick from Southfield A&T. And now a message from the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers.
Returning AZ Plan lessees can order an F-150 today and lease it for $299 a month for 24 months. Only at your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Think Ford first.
So 9.5 to go. West Bloomfield up by 3 scores. Semaj Morgan, a guy who we've been robbed from seeing play wide receiver today, right at the top of the list of the best senior wide receivers in the Mitten.
Yeah, there's a lot of good underclass receivers. We talked about Nick Marsh and obviously some of the kids we're watching tonight. Again, a lot of development in the offseason, a lot of reps throwing and catching, and it's proved to really show how many kids are getting recruited to colleges out of the state of Michigan.
A lot of talent on this field tonight. In case you missed it earlier, James Franklin flew in on a helicopter to watch a little bit of this game. We assume he's back in Ann Arbor by now. Heard a rumor that there's a pretty big game going on there tomorrow. This is one of the things, Justin, that frankly we haven't seen. Not a lot of pre-snap penalties on West Bloomfield. Kind of surprising in a ball game where you're missing your starting QB.
Yeah.
Tyrese Grice, look, he's a head coach. He'll find things to complain about. You always do. But overall, you got to be pretty darn pleased with what you're seeing.
Yeah, well, you want to win a championship, you better be angry about everything until it's over.
Chance for Piqueur to get the ball in his hands. The senior Brody Piqueur turning the corner and gaining a pretty good chunk on first down. So, by the way, in case you thought I was lying about James Franklin showing up in a helicopter, there is the visual evidence.
Recruiting wars.
You know, I put something out on Twitter about that, Justin, and I received a reply. You know this is normal in the SEC, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting pretty interesting. NIL, transfer portal, college recruiting it's a huge business, and you know, coaches are making efforts to show kids that they're present and they're here. I'm surprised Jim Harbaugh, though, didn't call the air traffic control and stop that from happening.
You think Jim Harbaugh's got that kind of pull?
I do. Michigan has some very, very influential alumni.
Well, remember as well, the big play that future Michigan Wolverines had, Amir Herring, Semaj Morgan. You'll see that a little bit later, but yeah, there he is.
I always find it funny that people crouch when they get out of a helicopter like they're going to be tall enough from the place they hit. But I guess I haven't jumped out of helicopters too much.
I've never been in a helicopter.
I have once in Maui, Hawaii, and it was scary. No doors.
I'm petrified of heights, so you will not see me in a helicopter anytime soon. We've had our fair share of flags today, and Aaron Marshall is not going to like that. An unforced error that gives West Bloomfield a free first down.
Yeah, I think one thing for West Bloomfield that they really found out is they can run the ball in many different fashions. And when you're in Michigan and it gets cold in the playoffs, that's going to come into play. I mean, Ford Field's going to be perfect conditions, but you have to get there first. And we've seen games over the years where really good, talented teams were really hampered by that weather and became one-dimensional. And I think West Bloomfield really found almost a three-headed monster in that, because they can run out of Wildcat, they can run the football with Kenneth Jones, and then they can throw the ball. They're going to be a scary offense to try to stop here in the 2022 run to the state championship.
Jones taking a big pop. That's Reggie Gardner playing every single snap hard.
Yeah, he is. They rave about this young man as far as the coaching staff, and they are very disruptive down there. You'll see him just keeping great leverage, getting off the block, and making a really good play. And that's what you want to see out of your guys, especially on defense. It's been struggling tonight. You want to see them keep fighting, keep that momentum, learn as much as you can, build character through adversity. Failure is the mother of all success. I truly believe in that. Never waste a good crisis.
You know, Reggie Gardner, if you're ever looking for proof he plays hard on every play, we're going to get a close-up of him after this play. Watch him left side of your screen on the line, number 58. Jones running for not very much.
Good stick.
Okay, so go look at number 58's helmet. Can we get him a fresh paint job?
No, because that's what offense interior line are supposed to look like. They're supposed to have a little bit of blood on their jersey, a little bit of snot on their face, and a really messed up helmet. And that's not saying we're saying play with your head, but you're banging in the trenches, and that's what happens.
I mean, that decal is hanging on for dear life. Reggie Gardner, a man who plays every snap hard. Back in a moment. Next week's Football Fridays game of the week is going to be a dandy at a special time. High noon next Saturday. We got a battle in the KLAA. It's Belleville against Brighton. A couple of undefeated powers in the state of Michigan are matching wits. Again, our coverage will start at noon next week. Special edition of Football Fridays on Saturday. Football Fridays presented by your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Frankly, you have no excuse to watch Belleville and not watch Belleville and Brighton next week. Michigan doesn't play. Michigan State doesn't play. Can't wait to have you join us next Saturday at noon. Bryce Underwood is worth the price of admission for the Belleville Tigers. Joshua Tate on the run for West Bloomfield. He's shy of the first down. And we've got 2 more flags for good measure.
And Brighton and Belleville have had some battles over the past. Brighton has surprised Belleville, I know, in a few games, and have hung tough in there. And it's going to be a battle out there. It's going to be very interesting, and we'll be broadcasting it. It's a great battle, undefeated. It's really going in. There's not too many left here at the end of the season going into the playoffs.
And another penalty on West Bloomfield. Gonna make Tyrese Grice grimace. Grice has been a member of the coaching staff for West Bloomfield for a decade. It's his second year as the head coach. Had the unenviable task of replacing the great Ron Bellamy. Last year got to the regional championship, lost to Rochester Adams. That is the only team that Tyrese Grice has ever lost to as the head coach. Lost to him twice last year and lost to him again a few weeks ago.
And as a former high school football coach and playing against a couple teams that had our number, it becomes very frustrating and almost gets into your head. So I'm sure they're looking forward to that opportunity to compete hard against them in the playoffs.
Morgan will throw. Pippen makes the catch. Deontay Pippen, for the first time, gets a chance to show off the speed as a receiver. It is 4th down. Southfield A&T used a timeout earlier in the half, and Aaron Marshall electing to use 1 more. Glad you found us here on Bally Sports Detroit tonight. Busy sports night here in the great city of Detroit. Shout out to the Red Wings winning their season opener, 3-0 win over the Canadiens. Back in action tomorrow night at New Jersey. Semaj Morgan, who has been throwing it all over the place today, and Deontay Pippen, number 7, have been shining stars all night, Justin, for the West Bloomfield Lakers. As we look at tonight's player of the game, brought to us by our friends at the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers, you can mention a lot of people tonight. Deontay Pippen, defense, offense, has just played a masterful game.
Yeah, look, I am so impressed with this young man. He is the unsung hero in this game. He had a huge task of trying to shut down Tashi Braceful, and he really did frustrate him. I know that's going to make Tashi better on the other end. He's going to come back and work at his craft, but hats off to Pippen tonight. Not only running around, making plays on the field, tackling, playing great man-to-man defense, and even some great offensive plays, but 3 pass breakups and just really doing a great job of one of the best receivers in the state.
A rare punt from West Bloomfield. Pretty good leg for Krauthammer. It was too good of a kick. It's into the end zone. You know, Deontay Pippen on a West Bloomfield team that is loaded with future Division I stars. I don't think when we entered this ball game we were expecting for him to be our Southeast Michigan Ford Dealers Player of the Game, but that is the beauty of sports. You never know what you're going to get, and tonight Deontay Pippen said, hey, pay attention to me too. I'm pretty darn good too.
Yeah, this is the best team sport in the world, football. You have to rely on your teammates, even if you have great players like, you know, Semaj Morgan and Isiah Marshall. You have to depend on your surrounding cast. The fronts of West Bloomfield did a tremendous job today, and Pippen just really was a different dynamic, the X factor into stopping the pass game for Southfield A&T and really putting this game out of reach.
At least one more crack for Isiah Marshall and the Southfield A&T offense tonight. Marshall off play action. Throw it, it's picked. It's Semaj Morgan. Just one more highlight to add to the reel tonight.
He must have heard that we gave Pippen the player of the game and wanted to state his case one last time. Yeah, it just gets on. That's a good catch. That shows you he's a receiver at heart right there.
We see you, Semaj. It was a catch. We trust you, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know if he was actually taunting the players. He was just pleading his case to the referee, but got to stay smart, start to get classy. He's confused. I was pleading my case to the referee. Talking about.
Oh, my goodness. Hang on. Got to give him the chain. There we go. Just let him sleep with that thing tonight. Southfield A&T and West Bloomfield fans sticking it out on what started as a high 50s night for football. We are not at that temperature anymore. Happy to report that there are plenty of people in the press box and the warmth is appreciated. You know, I hope whoever came up with the turnover chain for the Miami Hurricanes gets a royalty. Every time someone tries to copy the turnover chain.
There's a lot. There's the shades. There's the chain.
Oh yeah, Michigan has the turnover buffs now, right?
The buffs, yeah.
Stretch run. Ooh. Big pop in the middle. Nigel Dunton playing to the final whistle. That's a stick.
Yeah, he's a thumper. We haven't called his name a whole lot tonight, but that is a textbook tackle.
And now there's an extremely late flag. Yeah, that's an unsportsmanlike conduct on Southfield A&T. And Dunton, after the big hit, will leave the field. Coming up on 5 minutes to go. And a ball game that was back and forth for a while. But West Bloomfield, on the back of some big-time plays, pick sixes, 60-yard touchdown runs, in the driver's seat right now. Peeker running left, gaining a few on first down. Make sure to stay with us after the ball game for Football Fridays Overtime, powered by State Champs. Mickey York, Lauren Plant are going to recap the best of the night around Michigan high school football, and we'll get some post-game reaction from our game of the week right here in Southfield. So many great games across the state of Michigan this week that we got to recap. It's coming up right after our game of the week, Football Fridays, presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers.
I love the development of this show. When I was at Grand Valley State, they had, 45 minutes to an hour and a half of high school football. I used to love it. Said we need this in Metro Detroit. So hats off to Bally Sports and State Champs of what they've done to build the culture, community of high school football. It's just great to see those games. I always rush home. I don't know if we're going to make it today, but rush home to watch that and see what happened across the state of Michigan.
Peaker running again. To your point, Justin, when you were coaching me at Catholic Central, we would always wake up early on Saturday mornings and watch the State Champ show that was on early on Saturday mornings. We very much would have enjoyed opportunities like this. It really is outstanding, the coverage that has been growing across the state of Michigan for the last 3 years. Knock on wood, fingers crossed. Teams like Southfield A&T and West Bloomfield get the shine on Friday nights from now into the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and it's all about evolution of the game. You have to change with the times. You don't always have to, it can be changing by a hairpin, but you have to move forward. There's obviously just being able to play on live TV, being able to have some of these opportunities that we didn't have when I was playing, and even you. So it's really good to see, and it helps the culture of football in the state.
West Bloomfield running right. Big hit on the outside with a flag. They did get it in Marquise Morris's hands.
I love seeing both sides still competing this late in the game. They know it's over. Both of them are still popping the pads. Both of them are still hitting. As a coach, as a football guy, that is tremendous to see, and that's why they are both special programs. They're going to make deep runs into the playoffs. It's just simple. They are competitors. They want to compete, and they love playing the game.
Well, it also speaks to what Natalie was telling us at the top of the broadcast about how these guys were playing with each other from 4th grade on. So as soon as they get home, get a shower, they're going to, start texting each other and talk about every single snap. Doesn't matter what the score is and doesn't matter how much time is left.
Yeah. Well, West Bloomfield's going to have those talking rights tonight, and it's well deserved. They got well prepared for this game, and they executed at a high level. And even though some punches were thrown to them to drop them to the ground, they kept throwing back. And we'll get the last laugh here tonight. But I'm sure these teams have a long rivalry in their future, and it'll be a back-and-forth battle.
Morris again. Southfield A&T gets to him. 4th down. Looks like Southfield A&T will use the final timeout that they have.
What the hell is going on?
Friendly reminder for you on what's coming up for both of these teams as we wind down the regular season and approach the playoffs. Well, Southfield A&T's 6-1 start with a gauntlet to end it. West Bloomfield tonight and River Rouge next week. That's a River Rouge team that took De La Salle, which may be the best team in the state, regardless of division, right down to the bitter end today. It's a heck of a finish for these Warriors.
Yeah, and it's hard as a football coach to even say there's moral victories, but going into the playoffs and playing the top team in the Division I, and as you said, in the state, plays in an extremely tough Central Division. You're really thumping every week as far as who you're playing. And yeah, good job by River Rouge. That's going to be an interesting matchup next week.
How about West Bloomfield? What do you think about their closer next week against Ike? And maybe what do you think that schedule has done to prepare them for their playoff run?
Yeah, I think they're, pretty balanced schedule as far as maybe having a game that isn't as competitive, but then going into a big week. And then Clarkson, Rochester Adams is a pretty tough back-to-back games to play in. So they get a little bit of time to rest up. Not sure how good of a season Ike's having right now, but they are on full cylinders. Get some of their guys back, Kari Jackson, Lance, and the quarterback, and see what happens. And you're going to see these guys have the ability to make a really deep run if they can continue to get better. That's number one, continue to get better.
Ryan Krauthammer will try the field goal. It's a 45-yarder. This would be the longest of the year for West Bloomfield. Krauthammer swings the leg through it, but he just missed it.
I guess everything can't go right for West Bloomfield tonight.
No, and I actually like it. I mean, if you're in a point of this game, start working some things that you need to figure out if it's going to work out or not when you're in tight games, and field goal is obviously one of them. I think of special teams has been really crazy. We didn't talk about it that much leading up to the game, but special teams have played a big part in this game tonight.
All right, Justin, so we'll see on our Football Fridays Saturday edition next week. We'll see top team in the state according to state champs in Belleville. Detroit King lost tonight. Then you got De La Salle, Adams, West Bloomfield at 5. I would just like to point out that of the top 10 teams here on our Football Fridays, we have seen every single one, but I believe 2. Caledonia and River Rouge are the only ones we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, and you got, Cass Tech could have got knocked out of the playoffs tonight potentially, and that would have been insane. And now they're going to be a huge threat after what they just did with King. Looking forward to watching that game at some point. But yeah, it's going to be, I think, out of any years, Division I and just the state in general is wide open. I think the playoffs are going to be very intriguing because of that. Obviously, you have some key marquee wins late in the season like this that might say, hey, that raises some concerns if anybody else can compete with a West Bloomfield, but shows that King's beatable. Shows De La Salle's been beatable. De La Salle got beat by Brother Rice earlier in the year. So high school football, anything can happen. These are young men still. So it's always interesting. There's no better time of the year than November playoffs leading up to football Michigan State Championships. And it's going to be interesting to see who's crowned at the end of the year.
Well, you're talking about who's going to be crowned at the end of the year. Whoever wins in Division I is a deserving champion. You have Southfield A&T and West Bloomfield on display tonight, but up and down in Division I, there are good teams and landmines all over the place.
Yeah, and you got a lot of teams from very tough divisions, so they're battle tested. It's not like they're going through a bunch of cupcakes, and that's what makes it so interesting.
I mean, we'll see Belleville next week. We'll see Brighton next week. We've seen Detroit Catholic Central, team that's flying under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, the Detroit CC lost a tough one against Chippewa Valley after being up late in the fourth quarter of the first game of the year, and then really started getting some momentum after the big Rice win. Rice beats Dell, CC beats Rice, and then Dell just came into the Boys Bowl and really just, did a number on Catholic Central. And so I'm sure CC was going down out of state today, and they're going to try to get some momentum back for the playoffs. But it is, I mean, you look at the Macomb Dakota League, and you look at the Central Division, and you look at this league, there's just a lot going on, and it's going to be really exciting to cover here for the state of Michigan and all the communities and high school football players.
Juwan Jarrett at the end of this play is going to be a face mask penalty that'll move him further. Mark this on your calendar. Selection Sunday coming up a week from Sunday. It'll air 6 o'clock on Bally Sports. We will announce every single playoff pairing, every single division, D1 all the way down to D8. All those teams will announce, hoping for some highlights at Ford Field come Thanksgiving weekend. That comes a week from Sunday, 6 o'clock.
We don't just go to snooze. They don't just go to snooze. That's what we usually do. That's the guy that predicts all the great things. Big touchdown right there.
There's a touchdown to Zavi Bowman, former Brother Rice Warrior, getting on the stat sheet.
One thing you notice about both sidelines, the coaches are still coaching and the players are still really playing hard. And you see the arm strength. Isaiah's really had to do it with his feet and his legs tonight, but those are really good pass between two defenders, and gets a touchdown that they really needed this production earlier in the night. But again, still competing and still understanding what the task at hand is and what the goal for the end of the season is.
So Isiah Marshall gets a passing touchdown into the ledger tonight. Already had a couple rushing ones to his name. Diops PAT good. Justin, in scenarios like this, Southfield A&T was down 42-14. You do learn a lot about your team. What do you think Southfield A&T learned about itself in the fourth quarter tonight?
Well, they learned against Cass Tech that there's still a minute 30 left, and we're down by 2 touchdowns. If we get this onside kick, we could make this game interesting. So I think that that's invaluable, because at some point in a championship run, and I've been blessed enough to win 2 state championships and the national championship, but I also coach in 5 state finals, that you have to have some luck even other than being good. And I think that that's important to understand as a football team, and you're building a lot of character right now. And again, if you continue to believe, you never know what can happen.
Seeing the numbers on the screen for Isiah Marshall, a couple of interceptions. One of them was tipped. That'll be the play that we look back on. The 4th down and goal for Southfield A&T. The tip by Herring right to Semaj Morgan. One future Wolverine to another. Turned into a 92-yard pick 6 and the backbreaker for Southfield A&T.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Semaj was blitzing. That's why he was in the backfield in the first place, and found some gold and took it to the house, and that was the backbreaker. But, you know, again, we talked about it, and not the, you know, there were some drop passes tonight. Probably should have been about 15 completions and had 8 instead.
Well, we're about to learn what Southfield A&T has in terms of onside kick in their playbook. Hi, Hopper, no problems. For another guy who had a big night, DeAndre Hill had a touchdown in the first half, and now he fields the onside kick that'll put a bow on West Bloomfield's 6th win of the year. What do you think West Bloomfield learned about itself tonight?
Well, they learned they can work through adversity, and that's very important if you're going to make a championship run. Can the next guy step up? Can we be dynamic? Can we keep our confidence when we lose guys that we depend on? Staples of the defense, Kari Jackson, our quarterback. You know, we now have to move pieces around, and we've been in those situations, and sometimes as a coach that doesn't work out so well. And you know, even if you get those guys back and you don't do well in that situation, it can really be a blow to your confidence and any energy moving forward in the rest of the season. So I think that they are very happy with this win. You know, up front it was near dominating, and I think at the end of the day, if football starts up front, you have to have great lines on both sides of the ball in order to win a state championship, and West Bloomfield has that.
Semaj Morgan is done for the night. I'm shocked he's just not permanently wearing that chain.
He might be playing calling a play or something with everything he did tonight.
The man did a little bit of everything. 92-yard pick 6, passing touchdown, interception. What a night for Semaj Morgan, the future Michigan Wolverine, who we are expecting to hear on our overtime show tonight. One final snap for West Bloomfield. And an offensive firework explosion between 2 of the better offenses in Division I. The culture of West Bloomfield wins the day. Aaron Marshall's club still has a lot to play for this year. A young club that's getting better every single time that they get on the football field. But for tonight, West Bloomfield beats Southfield A&T by the final of 42-28. Thanks for being with us all night on our Football Fridays broadcast from here at Southfield A&T High School. Don't go anywhere. Our coverage continues right now. Mickey York, Lauren Plint, and Football Fridays Overtime powered by State Champs. Guys, take it away.
All right, Evan, thank you very much. Coming up tonight on the OT, we have 4 top 20 matchups in the state. Highlights from all those games on the way. Plus, we take you to Wayne State to see if number 2 Detroit King can hold off a desperate Cass Tech team for the PSL title.
Yeah, and I'm going to sit down with 24/7 Sports Midwest recruiting guru Alan True. We talked the top juniors, ranked a lot from Southfield and West Bloomfield. James Franklin helicopter visits and more coming up on High School Overtime, powered by State Champs.